It's a Fish Fry Friday, and you're going to be listing off all the terrific places to go. We've got it over on the Facebook fan page, which plenty of ways to get a hold of the program. For those of you on the stream, thank you for hanging out with us today. We see you watching. How are we looking? In addition to that, we appreciate you hanging out with us on Twitter, on mentioned on Facebook. You got YouTube, you got Twitch, all those different ways. We are broadcasting live out of the Bud Light studio and enjoying it. It's been really cool because people have been watching the stream. Ebo, you in the studio? You hanging out?
What's happening, brother?
So yesterday, I got to tell you something because I thought, you know what? When this came across, I thought there's somebody in my life that would enjoy this. You'll enjoy this. So I'm sitting here yesterday, and have you ever watched the stream where I'm at in my studio in the office?
Okay. Got it up right now, Bill. Come on, You got to see the handsome mug.
Well, you know, I get a text yesterday. One of my former sponsors was New Mail Medical. And everybody knows New Mail Medical is known for a couple of different things. One is weight loss, which I went through all of that. But the other thing is erectile dysfunction. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they said, hey, we want to get you a backdrop because of the light behind me. So, I mean, Budweiser's already in. They're going to send me one of the new Bud Light seltzers and Bud Light things, the pull-ups and all that stuff. They're going to put some stuff in the office, and we're going to continue to redo the studio. So the guy from New Mail says, what size do you need? I said, well, it's got to be at least, a little over 6 foot tall to block the door. And those things that you see in front of car lots where you turn the fan on and it's those tubey wavy guys.
Yeah, the dancing thing. Yeah.
Just imagine that for an erectile dysfunction place, what that would be. He's like, we're sending you one.
Dude, I mean, Bill, that's a head turner. That's a head turner.
Wow, pardon the pun. I cracked up. I thought, you know what? First of all, I don't know if I could. Second of all, that's brilliant. People
you got to put some Crocs under it. Put some Crocs under it too.
No.
Bill.
See, you don't need Crocs. Crocs are like Crocs are like Uggs. And now, if you're a girl and you got the body and the leggings and the stuff, and then you're wearing the Uggs and you're that snow bunny look, okay, you got a little hotness going. But otherwise, Uggs look like they sound. That's ugh. You just, and then Crocs, I have never met any man in my life that has ever went, hey, baby. Yeah. And then at the end of the night, when the covers come up and you're trying to watch over the foot of the bed to ESPN and there's a big pair of Crocs in the way, no.
Well, as a little nod, you could put it on the dancing, New Mail Medical thing in the back. You can put a number 4 on it, and the Crocs underneath it. It's a little nod to some legendary old Packers greats,
That would be perfect. Yes, I told him. I said, look, I'm not going to put that there. I'm not going to put like 2 big workout, balls next to it or basketballs or anything. Since if you want to send me a backdrop, send me a backdrop. So, but I thought, you know what? If I did that, people would be watching the show and telling me, "Hey, move over. We can't see the flying thing in the window." So that's it. Hey, what do you make? I'll start with out in Madison because what do you make of the Badgers?
Oh my God, Bill, I don't think 4 hours is enough for this. The Badgers right now, it's, we knew what was going to happen, right? Luka Garza was going to come in and eat because down low, I'd say Charmin Soft is the Wisconsin Badgers. So Luka Garza got his, and it's, Micah Potter had 11 rebounds. He had the 20-some points, but that was when Luka Garza was on the bench.
Right.
Bill, I'm very, very nervous about the remaining stretch here. They have Northwestern, who's lost 12 straight on Sunday. I think that's your one win, but the rest are against ranked teams. You got Iowa again. I'm nervous for March Madness. To me, Sweet 16 is success. I don't even know if they're going to get out of the first round.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Bill, they had the season worst shooting, 30%. It's terrible. That's what plagued them all year, and it's so frustrating because they're all seniors, and it's the team that won to share the Big Ten last year.
I just don't get it.
I don't think anyone does.
I don't think anyone does. And I at this point in time, on one hand, you feel bad for Greg Gard. The other hand, I know people are screaming, but you feel because last year it seemed like he could just wrap his arms around it and everything came together. This year, it's like the harder you squeeze, the worse it gets. And I just, at some point as a coach, you got to go, I may not have the answer to all of this.
Well, Bill, I mean, even worse is the layups because they were really good on the offensive glass. The Badgers were of getting some rebounds. I think they had 17, I want to say, rebounds, but had 4 points off of that. And when it comes to layups, they were just atrocious.
Right.
They were 4 of 15 on layups. 4 of 15 is
amazing.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, that's the amazing statistic. When I was reading that, I just thought, holy mackerel! I mean, that goes back to when you were playing in high school and doing the weave. Remember that? you'd go, you'd pass the pass, and then everybody shoot a layup. And if you had to miss it, everybody had to run. Layups were the one thing that you had to make. And if you're missing layups, holy mackerel, how many bunnies you giving up? So I completely agree. And then at the opposite side of the state, you got the Bucks, who aren't playing much better. And the Bucks lost yet again to the Raptors. What is it about the Raptors? The Bucks just have, the Raptors have the Bucks number, but the Bucks lose again. By the way, we're going to have Eric Name on the show today. Eric had to cancel. Apparently, he's fine. I was going to say he got sick. I don't want to make a joke of that, especially now. He's fine. He had some things to do for his editors, so he had to cancel. He's going to join us next week. But I just thought maybe he watched that game last night and physically got ill to play. I basketball right now. It's with such optimism that we had coming into this season, it has just hit a bad low. Hey, by the way, I got to say hi to we have got Andy, and I posted this before, but Andy saying hi from Derbyshire, Great Britain, listening and watching. I think that might be the farthest away that I've ever had somebody say hello. That is awesome. I mean, Hilo, Hawaii, we got a fan there, but from Great Britain, Andy, you the man. That's quite a way. And what time is it there, by the way? That's the next question. It's got to be late at night, I would assume. So anyway, but thanks for saying hi from Derbyshire, Great Britain.
It's 4:08 p.m. in the UK.
Is it? Well, that's not bad then. He's in a pub. He's got his phone on in a pub somewhere. Then God love him. Now the drink in you ever been to Great Britain?
I have been to Ireland. That's close as I've came.
I was going to say everybody goes to Ireland, and we all know it's Guinness, and it's Jameson. So I don't know what the drink of the day is in Great Britain. So I don't know if it's the same.
Tea. Crumpets and tea, Levy.
I would assume that's what it is. I'm not 100% sure, but nevertheless, good stuff. So anyway, there you have it. Hey, coming up on the show today, Dan Shonka from the Our Lads Draft Service is going to be joining us. And Dan, great guy. So if you got a draft question, he's coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Start bringing your draft questions now. We want to get into that. And then I posted this yesterday, in case you did not see it. But the fan side has a lot of quotes and a lot of rumors and a lot of thoughts. They posted a story that said Packers, not Steelers, emerging as the favorite for J.J. Watt. Are you sitting there poised at your computer, your finger just above the enter button, as you have already ordered your green and gold Watt 99 jersey? You're just waiting for them to make it official so you can go enter and be one of the first ones in to get it and to have it ordered and have it sent to you immediately. So that way you were sporting the green and gold and you're excited about the future, at least defensively speaking. So it's not, it's not Reggie White walking through that door, because Reggie was still at the peak of his career. But it's certainly a hometown favorite. It's certainly a guy that can be disruptive. It's certainly a guy that can contribute, and it would certainly be bolstering the defensive prowess of this team that so desperately needs it. So anyway, but thanks. So Sean says, I also know somebody who listens occasionally from Great Britain. Gulf Shores, Alabama. Robert, 34 degrees down in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Who knew? We're going to be close to that, I think, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, here. What else do we have for you? Tea and crumpets, fish and chips. Brett, you are correct. Fish and chips over there, big time. And it sounds like Carmelo says, sounds like a pub crawl overseas is in order. Hi from Marshfield, from Michael. Appreciate that. So anyway, thanks to everybody for chiming in. You can find us many different facets. You can find us on Twitter at Bill_Michaels. You can follow the stream. We appreciate it if you do. The link always goes up on Twitter. It goes up on Facebook. It goes up on YouTube, and it goes up on Twitch. You can follow me over on YouTube. Just simply Twitch and YouTube are at Bill Michaels. Just look for me there. By the way, Sean, it's Australia. You are correct. I'm sorry. I was kind of the flag came up like less than a half an inch by a half an inch. I mean, it's tiny, and I can't see it from here, so I apologize. I thought it was Great Britain, but it's not. It's Australia. So you are correct. If you want to get a draft question in, get it in now. The more I read about the rumors and innuendos and things flying around regarding J.J. Watt, the more I believe. I didn't want to be the proponent of I'm excited, I believe. I wanted to be I'm excited if it happens. But I'm becoming more and more and more of a believer. I think the Cleveland Browns play and argument and rumors might have been more of a smokescreen or something that was maybe overhyped, maybe not a smokescreen, but more overhyped than anything. I think that it's a very real possibility that JJ ends up in green and gold. So I'm becoming more and more of a believer. And I know many of you had asked me to be a believer early on. I just didn't want to go there. I didn't want to be that guy that was just sounding like the consummate homer, you know? But I'm becoming more and more of a believer, to be perfectly honest with you. Jack says Mike Budenholzer and Steve Wojciechowski, Wojo, along with Greg Gard, what has happened to the coaching in the state of Wisconsin? That's a great question. I mean, for a while now, we have heard rumors and rumblings from those in the Marquette family, because Wojo wasn't necessarily putting up a lot of big numbers when it came to wins, but they gave him the contract extension. And then you saw some of the recruits that were coming in, and you went, oh, okay, you understand why they're going in that direction and maybe fortifying the coach so he can go out on the recruiting trail and continue to bolster his team. But the results have not been what have been expected. They got to win the other night, but the results have not been what many expect. So if this season doesn't get it, next season certainly becomes prevalent as far as wins go. And I think a lot of coaches, and Greg Gard included, I think a lot of coaches, because of COVID, because of the circumstances, have been given somewhat of a pass. And when you start to look and say Calipari, boy, I'll tell you what, I was talking to a buddy of mine. He lives down in Lexington. Holy mackerel. Calipari sucks. You got to get him out of here. He's not a Kentuckian. You ought to read what's going on in the Lexington Herald. Holy mackerel. They want that guy out of town. You know, the one and dones, they're tired of it. Just on and on and on. I mean, everybody believes he's a good coach, or more so, he's a really good recruiter. He's not a good coach. And that's becoming the loud battle cry in Kentucky from Kentucky fans who expect to win. Then you've got Kansas. They've been through their own legal issues. Duke is obviously flailing a bit. North Carolina. I mean, there's a possibility that some of the Blue Bloods don't even get into the tournament this year. So it's a different season, and which is why I think that many coaches are going to get a little bit of a pass. So we'll see. We'll see what happens out in look, out in Madison, they're still a ranked team. They're still tournament bound. Now, where they end up, we'll wait and see, but got to get a win on Sunday. Got to get a win on Sunday. By the way, somebody had sent me a tweet. It raised my eyebrows. It's regarding Uggs, and I have to see if this story is true when we come back.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You know what it is, don't you?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you know what it is. I got to see if this is true when we come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. I received an interesting question over on the live stream feed. So I'm going to get into that coming up momentarily, okay? And I promise you I will. But I got to delve a little deeper into this. So we were talking about Uggs a little earlier with chicks and leggings and kind of that snow bunny look, you know. I mean, that's kind of like where I live. That's kind of like the uniform, you know, for a lot of the moms walking around here. I see them every morning. I go to the gym, and there they are at Starbucks. Uggs, and if you really get crazy, you get the glitter Uggs. So then you know they've got money, because then they're climbing out of big Infiniti SUVs or Mercedes SUVs. But if they got the regular brown ones, they're climbing out of a car like everybody else is driving. But then they've got the black leggings on, and then they've got either the short coat with a little puffy hat or whatever. You know, that's kind of the look. And then Ryan tweets me and he says, wait a minute, Ebo has Uggs. Tell me it's not true.
All right, Bill. Okay, a lot of accusations going on right now. But okay, here in Madison, yes, there's the same look, right? It's like when fall happens, it's pumpkin spice season. You know, Han Solo's always got the vest with the shirt underneath. And I call it the Han Solo look, but for the Coastie girls. It's the leggings with the Uggs and the vest. Bill, I do have Uggs. I will come clean. I do have Uggs, but I kind of view myself as like a Tom Brady. I'm like a habitual winner, Bill. I got a smoking hot wife, right? You're
metrosexual and your wife is smoking hot. You are correct.
Well, I mean, now I kind of look like a stoner with my long hair. But, Bill, when it comes to Tom Brady was an endorser for Uggs. He had these things called, like, their house shoes, their slippers, like moccasins.
Right.
I have those.
Oh, thank God.
I don't have
thank God. Thank God.
The pumpkin spice chasing Coastie. I don't have those, Bill. They're house shoes.
Okay.
And my smoking hot wife got them for me. I do have Uggs.
Terrible picture of sitting one night at the Red Zone on a Fish Fry Friday and you walking in and black leggings and Uggs and a Bucky jacket.
No, I do have the body to pull that off, Bill. I can pull off any look.
No, you don't. No. You remind me more of like.
If I can pull it off, it's me.
You remind me more like the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz. That's the limber, lanky Ichabod Crane type of svelte Norwegian look you've got. It's not that. No,
but they're house shoes.
Okay.
They're house shoes. They're black moccasins.
Oh God, I think I just wet myself. Oh my goodness.
I'm not a Coastie girl. Okay, I'm a man. I'm a man.
Oh God. We need to get a new mail sponsorship inside that studio too.
We need an Ugg sponsorship now, Bill. We need an Ugg sponsorship.
I can do, if you're a dude and you've got the warm slippers, I can do that. I've got, you know what I've got? You ever heard of a product called Happy Feet?
Yes.
Those big giant fluffy things you can get in different colors in the mall. They're usually in the kiosk right around Christmas time. My son used to get them for me every year. And I mean, he got older. Now he doesn't buy them for me anymore. But I still got like 6 pairs of those things. So if I get real cold, I wear those because then you just start sweating.
Bill, I will get the photo of Tom Brady. I'll get the photo of Tom Brady wearing the exact Uggs that I have, and I know you posted your tweet at Bill Michaels _ Michaels. Yes. I'll post it to that one.
Post it there. Yes, I was extremely worried there for a minute. Holy mackerel. Yeah. Okay. Now, mystery got a picture of Ebo out in the would be priceless. We would have to actually send you somewhere. We'll take you with us to spring training if that look happens or something like that.
Bill, one time I went ice fishing. I did try my wife's leggings on before.
No.
It was cold out,
No.
and my ass looked perfect. Dude.
No, I see. All I want to do is hit it with a car antenna.
You can bounce a dime off of it. It's beautiful.
No. I picture now your beautiful, loving, caring, just charming, innocent, smiling wife sitting next to you in these pictures. Now I just picture her riding you around the house like with a chaps on and everything else. Now there's some weird stuff going on in that household.
Hey, what I do in my personal time, Bill, is my business. Okay, got a nice weekend coming up here.
Welcome to the Ebo home. Why does it smell like hay and leather? I have no idea. That's our candles. That's a beautiful thing right there. Welcome back to the program. And for those of you that are a little bit later on today going to lunch, we apologize. We thought we'd throw it in there. I got a question. If J.J. Watt, and this came from Carmelo who hit us up, he said if Watt were to sign and then after was signed with the Packers, and after all of that makes it to the Hall of Fame, would his name then be eligible to be put up inside the Lambeau Ring of Honor? That's a great question. Boy, that's a great question. I don't know the qualifications. I think it's just a votable thing. I don't know if there's so many games you have to play or what kind of a cog you are in a championship team, because you would assume then that Charles Woodson's name would go up into the Ring of Honor, correct? But is Charles Woodson, because he's more known for playing for the Raiders than he is for the Packers, but he won his Super Bowl and the Defensive Player of the Year award that same season with the Packers. So would you put Charles Woodson up in the Ring of Honor? That's a great question. As much as I want to say yes, I just don't know. But boy, I tell you what, I got to think about this. That's a great question. That's a stumper for me. I would love to do it. But if you put up J.J. Watt, you would have to put up Charles Woodson. So you know what I'll do is let me do this without me finding out the specifics. I see it, Ebo. I got you.
Style redefined. Style redefined, Bill.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, so for those that want to see what Ebo wears, there you go. It's the Tom Brady. He's kind of got that grungy, greasy hair, slick back. I'm shaving, model-esque. Could be like in GQ magazine type of look. I like the fact that a dog's next to him. I wonder if that's really his dog or not. I'm paying more attention to the dog. He's just reading the paper in the Uggs, man. I'm going to get somebody to crop your face onto that. That's what I'm going to do.
Hey, I got some time. I'll do it. But that's me, Bill. That's me.
Okay. Yeah, that's you. I can see that. Okay, I feel better about this. I really do.
Sleep easy at night. Sleep easy at night knowing I don't have to coast the Uggs.
Yeah, because I tell you this, I'm going away for the weekend, and that image was just emblazoned in my head. So I was just, I was going to freak out tonight a little bit later on. See what Rory tweeted you. That's awesome. You can follow me over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, by the way. And by the way, you can also find Ebo at Ebo Says, so you can find him over there. Reggie is up there, and he played more in Philadelphia than in Green Bay. Woodson, I would assume, would have to go up, right? So if Watt signs here and say he plays 2 seasons, or say 3 seasons, I don't know if you can come in and play just 1 season, be really good, win a championship, and suddenly you're in the Ring of Honor because you're in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if you could do that. Woodson, I would say yes. Woodson has to go up. He played 4 seasons, 5 seasons in Green Bay. But, and that you know, that would constitute, yes, I think a long enough career in Green Bay that you could say he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. Yeah, he's got to go up. 7 seasons in Green Bay. Heck yeah. 7 seasons in Green Bay. 2010, he had that just unbelievable year. And he played, God, when he came over, he only missed 3 games. No, I take that back. In 2012, he didn't play a full season. He only played 7. But up until that point in 2012, he had only missed 3 games in those 4 years, 5 years. So, yeah, I mean, Charles Woodson has to go up, without a doubt. He has to go up. But would J.J. Watt be eligible to go up? That's a great question. Brett wants to know if you wear a smoking jacket when you wear those Uggs.
I go shirtless, Bill. Just the Uggs. Just the Uggs. That's it. Shirtless, pantless, just the Uggs. Wife's orders, Bill. How about that? Do you have that image in your head?
We are
week?
getting a really deep. This is just fans. I'm telling you right now. This is like standing outside Evo's window. You're just getting the mental picture. Just pull back the curtains and scream. That's exactly.
I leave the curtains open for everyone to look, Bill. I'm very comfortable in my own body.
John says, ask Evo, could you imagine if the Minister of Defense, Reggie White, was wearing Uggs? He says
Tom Brady has 7 rings. He wears Uggs.
7 rings, and now you know where he stores them. Puts them on his toes inside the Uggs and keeps them all warm. There you go. That's great stuff. Hey, coming up next, Dan Shanka from Our Lads Scouting Service. You can find Dan over on Twitter as well. He's going to be joining us coming up here in just a few. So if you've got a question or two and you want to hit me up, you can do it on Facebook. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it in many different facets. You can also follow Dan at Our Lads, OURLADS _ Shanka, SHONKA. Dan is by far one of the best draft gurus and former GMs and scouts and such that I've ever run across. So we always have him on, and we'll get him on numerous times between now and the draft. But we're going to get kind of a preview of what the NFL draft has to offer this upcoming offseason. Stay tuned. We're going to talk with Dan Shanka. Coming up next. Ready?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We are glad you are with us on this Friday. It has been a smorgasbord of stuff, and we're not even into the fully first hour of the program just yet. Joining us now on the hotline, a good friend, long-time draft analyst, working in the NFL a long, long time, and you can find him, as I had mentioned, over on Twitter as well at OurLads, OURLADS _ Shonka. Dan Shonka now joining us today to talk a little NFL draft. Dan, how you been, my friend?
Real good, Bill. A little warmer than you are right now since we now are wintering out in Arizona. But sooner or later we're going to have to get back to Iowa, and I don't know if it's it may be 20 degrees when we get back there in middle of March.
Yeah, I know. This weekend's actually supposed to warm up a little bit. But after that, who knows? More snow, rain, who knows? We could have Armageddon before it's all said and done. So is Trevor Lawrence the runaway number one overall best quarterback in this class?
You know, Bill, as you know, things are very volatile in the NFL business, but I think that as we head to the draft, he'll be the number one quarterback taken this year.
Tell me, because we looked so far down at so many teams that need, quarterbacks right now. And once you get past Trevor Lawrence, let's talk about Justin Fields coming out of Ohio State. I for the life of me, can't trust an Ohio State quarterback. They just don't materialize when you get to the NFL. So tell me, is Justin Fields going to break that mold?
Well, I tell you, you're 100% right, and that's gone through my mind again and again because the Ohio State quarterbacks have really never done it, and they come in with all the bells and whistles, but then they kind of fizzle out. So, I think NFL teams will look at that. And they really didn't ever do much, and different Texas positions, offensive line or some defensive linemen never did a whole lot. You kind of look at that. But I think going forward here, I mean, all these quarterbacks have got holes in them, certainly after Trevor Lawrence, and I think you kind of are looking for the best of the worst. And it very well, the guy now that may, in my mind, and I always like to have a big book, Bill, and this guy doesn't have a big book. And, I think Trey Lance from North Dakota State may pass everybody up, and I don't know if that will be on NFL boards, but when all the smoke's cleared in a few years, he may end up being the best quarterback. But I might trust him more than I do Justin Fields, even though he's played at a 1AA level, but he's a tremendous athlete. He's got a strong arm. He's very smart, played the pro style offense. He can run it as well as throw it. And so he's going to be an interesting choice. And then, of course, Zach Wilson out at BYU. When I used to go to BYU, you could go look at their quarterbacks at practice. And I'd ride around the golf cart with Lavelle Edwards, and Lavelle said, well, here's our quarterbacks this year. They all look the same. I mean,
right.
They all just pass. You look all fine. They look the same. And, I think Zach Wilson is, he didn't play against great competition, but, boy, he stands up there in the pocket, and he throws that ball down the field. He's focused, and, so it would not shock me if some team says, hey, Zach Wilson's our guy and not a Justin Fields.
Trey Lance, I agree with. And the one thing that I look for in quarterbacks, and this is the reason I think Justin Fields is going to fail, is I look for the release. I look for a strong arm and everything. That gets you there. But usually it's what's between the ears and the release. And Trey Lance has an ability to release the ball rather quickly with a snap on it while he's moving. Where Justin Fields, it almost reminds me of Tim Tebow. It is a big looping motion. He uses his eyes. He doesn't look off coverage real well. And Trey Lance, I agree with you. I think Trey Lance is going to end up being the better quarterback by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think that but the thing that always scares me, Bill, is just that, he's got 1 year. If he had 3 years and was doing that and he just got better every year, you'd say, man, he might be pushing, Lawrence for that number one spot. But anyway, I think that, that's what we're looking for, that Trey Lance he was super a year ago and only had the one game this past fall. But, I mean, that was kind of a throw-in deal, just kind of a scrimmage game in my mind, because North Dakota State played a team that already had 4 or 5 games under their belt. And, Lance looked a little shaky or rusty, but I think he may be the guy.
Tell me about Mac Jones. He intrigues me because it's not that Alabama quarterbacks come out and they set the world on fire, but it seems like he's, in big moments, he has shined, but he's also had some really good talent around him.
Right, and justifiably so. I mean, here's a guy that's the thing that I like. I'm with you in regards to the release and the synapse from the brain to the hand, getting that ball out and everything. And he has that. He's his parents were, I guess, great tennis players, and you got to be able to react quickly, and he does react. And of course, the argument's always going to be, and same way with Lawrence, they had great talent receivers around them, but maybe not the talent that Jones had. I mean, he had 4 number ones that draft choices, including this year's who was better than the 2 that came out last year, Devonta Smith. So, I think that, and then Waddle will be a first round. So he's had super talent around him for 2 years, and he gets the ball close. They leap up, snatch that ball, and off to the races they go. But he still has to direct the traffic. He gets the ball out quickly, he throws it in the tight windows. He's got good. The thing is, he may not have a rocket for an arm, but because of his anticipation, he gets it right through there, and it whizzes right by those linebackers' ears. So I think that he's going to be a first-round choice, and it'd be real interesting to see if he'd get by New England.
So now the Packers, we all know they're going to be drafting lower, obviously, because of their record, going to be sitting at number 29. So I don't think, short of quarterback, and I think they kind of feel good about what they have at the linebacking position. So tell me, because every level I think they're going to need depth in the offensive line. They may need another wide receiver. If they lose Aaron Jones, they'll need another running back. Kevin King needs to be replaced at corner. You tell me who might be the best pickup for the Packers sitting there at number 29.
Well, with 5 quarterbacks, let's just say they 5 go, prior to the Packers, and it could easily happen. That pushes down other good players, and which might mean another corner. And the Packers have worked for years trying to get that backfield, squared away at the corner position. And for one reason or another, things hadn't worked out for them. But I don't know if Surtain certainly won't be there, and the Farley probably won't be there. But J.C. Horn, his father, was a receiver for years in the league, Joe Horn, and so he knows what it takes to play in the NFL. J.C. could possibly be there, okay? And if he's not there, I think a guy that I really like, and I'm probably standing on a soapbox for the guy by myself, is Jalen Mayfield from Michigan at tackle. He plays right tackle there at Michigan, but he would certainly upgrade the Packers at that tackle spot, and he could swing if he had to both ways, but on at right and left. But I think he's a great football player, and I judge great football players by the competition they played against. And it had been a year ago. I mean, he walled off and did everything to Chase Young that could possibly be done with an offensive tackle. So I think that he would be NFL ready when he walks in. So that would be, another position.
Yeah, they picked up Runyon last year, and he turned out to be really solid when he was called upon as well. I like what you're thinking there. Also, J.C. Horn, the corner out of South Carolina. I mean, that guy, he fits kind of all the analytics, doesn't he? He's a tall kid, good speed. The biggest thing for me, he's a guy that can go up and get a ball. I mean, he's a guy that can go up and he uses that depth kind of behind him, so to speak, to be able to go up and get a ball and knock balls down. I've really liked watching him play when I've had a chance to.
Yeah, no, he's you have to knock on wood because obviously at 29, you're hoping that teams are grabbing players above you that there's not a whole lot of them, for instance, and then everything kind of gets pushed down to you. And now Horn may jump up to the second best corner. I don't know. We'll have to wait till some more smoke clears here because, ironically enough, it's kind of early in the process, if that's a possibility when you talk about the NFL draft. But other interior people, may be there too. Like you say, defensive linemen, interior guys. Barmore, he's going to be one of the top guys out there, but he may come down right to 29, and he could certainly help the Packers inside.
That was going to be my next question. Do you think he'll be there because he's what I would consider to be a moron on helping out a guy like Kenny Clark?
Yeah, he would be a perfect thing. Now, the thing at Alabama that you always have that advantage because you got such depth. Yeah, I mean, he'd be in there for 2 series and he'd be out and he'd have a blow and then he'd come back in and get, and he was always, geared up, like he had a Roman candle in his behind, I mean, he would play hard, big, strong guy. And he's an excellent inside pass rusher. I mean, that's his probably big thing. He not only can shed, get off blocks, and then make the tackle up and down that line of scrimmage like a linebacker, but when you ask him to get on the edge of a guard or a tackle and just say, stick him, he can do that, and he's really explosive. Now, he's the top defensive lineman in our mind out there, but he could very well be there. Just because of, the quarterbacks are going to do strange things and people are going to get excited about a few of those top wide receivers and spot check some of these other positions. And then, it could pitch the tight end from Florida, he's going to be taken. So things could get pushed down and the Packers just have to have a big basket ready to go when one of these guys come to them.
Dan, it's always great to talk to you. I'll get you back on as the draft draws near. They can get your stuff at ourlads.com, correct?
Yes, sir. And thank you so much, Bill. It's always great being with you.
You too, pal. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. There you go. Dan Shonka from Our Lads. Go to OurLads_Shonka, SHONKA. And you can find Dan there and go to Our Lads, OURLADS.com. That's OURLADS.com. Great for depth charts, too. More pro than college, but they've gotten into the college level of kind of examining depth charts and such. So it's a really good read. But boy, I tell you what, when the Bible comes out, everybody, if you follow the draft and on the draft shows that we have done, when I have something sitting next to me, it's always highlighted, broken down. I've read everything. It's always sitting there with Our Lads. And go to OurLads.com. You can order one for yourself. You can look at all the different players. You can look at all the analytics. You can see what they do in the combine. Once the combine's done, you can go ahead and order that, and they will tell you what they ran in the 40, what they did in the shuttles. It's every analytic they have, and it all comes out in every rating for the top players at every position, like the top 10 or 15 players at every position. You can read about them and then see all the other players as well and some of their analytics in the back of Our Lads scouting book, the draft guide. So just fantastic stuff. We're way late for a break, but I wanted to get Dan on and let you take a listen. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Get a good feeling Yeah. Happy, oh no, no, I get a feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a
Happy Fish Fry Friday. Hopefully you're enjoying your day. I tell you what, today is the Fish Fry Friday. We talked about this the other day. The best places for fish fry. Miss Jen's Tiger Stop Cafe, that's in Stratford, an old school supper club, homemade beer battered haddock. And then what do you like? Do you like the perch? Do you like the walleye? Do you like the beer battered cod, haddock? What do you like? You know? Sandra's on the Park, Wagner's, that's the Packing House, a couple other ones. Sister Bay Bowl up in Door County. What else do we have? The Penny Bar. Ann says the Penny Bar, but then again, Ann owns the Penny Bar. But Penny Bar is good, I'll have to say that. If you come into Milwaukee, I love Stenny's. They got a tremendous fish fry. They got great wings, but they have a good fish fry too. You know who has a good fish fry? Believe it or not, Calderon Club downtown. They got a really good fish fry. What else? Timmer's Resort. Where's Timmer's Resort? On Big Cedar Lake. Thank you, Matt. Nightcap in Palmyra. All you can eat with potato pancakes, applesauce, coleslaw, fresh bread. Yummy. That's from Andrew. Serb Hall in Milwaukee. Serb Hall was always good. Is Serb Hall even still doing it? Did they? I know Kegel Inn in West Allis, just west of Milwaukee. I know they still do it. The Roxy in Oshkosh, Wentz in Black Wolf, the Bluegill at Vinland Still and Grill. That's in Neenah, by the way. The Hale House has an awesome fish fry. So a lot of Van Abel's. That's in Hollandstown in the Fox Valley area. Another good place. The Goal Post, Old Manitowoc Road in Green Bay. Dublin's in Oshkosh. You know who else? Dublin Square has a good one out in La Crosse. Carl says, got to go perch. Got to do the perch thing. Fox and Hounds in Hubertus, Carmelo. You nailed it. That's a good one, too. Mibs and Vibs in Lannon. They have fish fry, yes. That chicken dinner they have at Mibs and Vibs, that thing's fantastic. Oh, my God. That'll make you do funny stuff to squirrels out in your yard. It's so good. Baked haddock from Wisco's in Eau Claire. And then there's the Ale House. The Ale House has a good one, too, no doubt. A lot of good ones coming in. I'm going to be heading north after the show today. I got one stop I got to make, and then I'm heading north. I'm heading up to Menominee and Marinette, one of our affiliates up there, or soon-to-be affiliates. And then I'm heading up to the Four Seasons Island Resort, going there for this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be a fun weekend. They're having a Mardi Gras party this weekend. Now, Mardi Gras, we already all know has already taken place, but this is their weekend for the Mardi Gras party. So I'm going there. I'm going to go do that. Do a little bit crazy. The best part about that is when you stay there, there's no driving. You're just there. So you can stumble your way back down the halls, and you're good to go. It's always fun. A lot of different stuff coming up. Let's see here. This is from Akash, who says, yes, Charles Woodson should go into the Ring of Honor as a Green Bay Packer. Do you think they're going to do that next year? I would assume that that's already in the works. I would think Charles Woodson's going to be in the Ring of Honor for Green Bay. I can't imagine him not being. Paige says, if J.J. Watt comes to Green Bay and they win a championship, automatically he goes into the Ring of Honor. He'll be in the Hall of Fame as well. Does he go into the Packer Hall of Fame? I mean, he'll go to the Hall of Fame anyway, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But would he go into the Packer Hall of Fame? Charles Woodson should, obviously. Hell yes. But the Ring of Honor is different. That's reserved for the greatest of the greats, and then to have your number retired. It even goes beyond that. Here's a question, because now he's been a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Should Leroy Butler have his name put in the Ring of Honor? Think about that. He's in the Packer Hall of Fame, but should Leroy Butler have his name, if he goes in as a Hall of Famer, should he also have his name put up in the Ring of Honor? That's a great question, too. Got a lot to discuss today. A lot of deep thinking people. Step away for a couple of minutes. Stay right where you're at, whether it's on the stream and you're watching the program or you're listening to the program from parts unknown. Hang in there. Give us a couple of minutes. We're going to do a couple of things and then come right back. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. 1 hour down, 3 to go right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, last night, number 21 Wisconsin put up a fight, but their shooting woes continue as they did not have enough offense in a 77-62 loss to number 11 Iowa at the Kohl Center. The Badgers' offense, which has been struggling mightily, shot a season worst last night, 30%. They went 13 for 34 from deep, 5 of which came off of the hand of Brad Davison. There's more from him.
You never feel sorry for yourself because no one else feels sorry for us. That's why, we're going to continue to work. We're going to keep believing in each other, and we're going to stay committed and stay together. You win as a team, you lose as a team, like I said, and that's one thing about being in this league is you get everyone's best shot and you play the best teams every night.
The Badgers are back at it on Sunday. They'll head to Northwestern to take on the Wildcats, who have lost 12 straight. Speaking of losing streaks, the Milwaukee Bucks are in the midst of their longest one in 4 years as Toronto beat them again last night at the Fiserv Forum, 110-96. The Bucks have now lost 5 in a row and will look to bounce back as they welcome in the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Fiserv Forum tonight for a 7 o'clock tip.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Last night saw Giannis Antetokounmpo be named an All-Star once again in his career. He joined Sidney Moncrief and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the only Milwaukee Bucks to have 5 or more All-Star game selections. And finally, yesterday saw Barry Alvarez, Wisconsin Athletic Director, send an email and video out saying that fans will be back at Camp Randall Stadium this fall. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
We're back. Glad to have you. Friday. First Fish Fry Friday of the season, officially. As we now effort towards Easter, but it is a time in which beer and fish and fries and coleslaw and patties of potatoes and such are prepared with due diligence as everybody starts to get ready for the season. All the restaurants and bars and takeouts and such getting ready for it. I love this time of year. I love this because of a couple of reasons. One, I think Mardi Gras is awesome. I love the Fish Fry Fridays, and we know that March Madness is right around the corner. Excuse me. And in addition to that, pitchers and catchers have reported it just feels like it might get warmer at some point in time. I know this weekend, at least I really think throughout most of the state, we're going to get snow, maybe a couple of inches. So we're going to see some more snow, but warmer weather tomorrow, warmer weather even so on Sunday, and then Monday. I think every day next week is above freezing. So we may even see some rain and a little bit of a melt-off. I can't wait for that. My dogs have nowhere to go in the yard anymore. I keep trying to run the snowblower through the yard just to create a path. I had some people to the house yesterday, and my dog Elmo walked out right in front of their car. Blip, right there. Just pooped right in the driveway. So we gotta have a little space now. The animals need it. I got big dogs too. I can't imagine what people with little dogs, little lap dogs, are doing. That's got to be nuts. By the way, off Broadway, the Draft House in Madison, another vote for a really good fish fry. So there you go. We're still talking fish fries. So when we were sitting here talking, the question came to me that said, hey, if indeed J.J. Watt comes to Green Bay and they win a championship, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Does he then go to the Packers Ring of Honor or the Packer Hall of Fame? If he goes to the Packer Hall of I could say yes to the Packer Hall of Fame. But the Ring of Honor, now there's two questions specifically right here, right now. The next person to go up in the Ring of Honor is, and then fill in the blank, Charles Woodson? You would assume, right? Some of his best years he had in Green Bay. 7 seasons as a Packer. His last season was cut short because of injury, but 7 seasons as a Packer. And a championship, his only Super Bowl, putting up spectacular numbers, Defensive Player of the Year, played both corner and safety, and a Hall of Famer. I think my opinion is it's a no-brainer that Charles Woodson goes up into the Ring of Honor. The next question becomes, if indeed Leroy Butler, and I believe, I've told Leroy this, I believe he's going to go in. I really do. I think he's deserving, and I have told this story 1,000 times. We're sitting in New York. We're in New York on Radio Row for the Super Bowl. And I'm sitting there doing interviews. Leroy's in the vicinity. And I work with Leroy at the time at my former employer. So he comes over, sits down, we start talking. And I look down the row of tables, and there is Ronnie Lott. And Ronnie Lott is now making a beeline for our table. And I thought at the time, see, where they placed us was we were right next to Sports Illustrated. And Sports Illustrated was doing these, kind of like we're doing now with our stream. The Sports Illustrated started doing their interviews online. So they would have people come over, get in the chair, then they would go to their TV set. They would do it like a regular television interview, and then it would be posted right to their website. So I thought that's where he was going. Instead, he sits down at the table, at my table, sits down and says, this is the guy that I wanted to mold my game after. And he's pointing to Leroy Butler. So we started talking, and all I did was ask one question about the Hall of Fame. And for the next 10 to 15 minutes, you sit back and you just listen as Leroy Butler and Ronnie Lott talked football. And Ronnie Lott and others there then said, that man, pointing at Leroy Butler, belongs in the Hall of Fame. So if other Hall of Famers believe it, then damned it should happen. It should happen. So the question is, do you put Leroy Butler in the Ring of Honor? Think about that. He's a Packer Hall of Famer, yes. But do you put him into the Ring of Honor? That's a whole other level of honor when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. So the King says that Butler should have been in before Lynch. Lynch had some quality numbers, no doubt. This one coming to us from Carmelo says Leroy was drafted as a corner, but once he moved to safety, he really elevated what the team expected out of that position. Got another one here from a No Limit Cooper. Butler should be in without question. So I completely agree. Our buddy Dwayne chiming in said, believe it or not, Bunkers in Wausau, great fish fry. The lightly breaded Cajun. You are correct. I actually have had their fish fry. I was down there, was it last year, I think? Last year? I think it was or the year before, one of the two. But yeah, I had Bunkers. Really, really good. But should Leroy Butler be in the Ring of Honor? Was Jerry Kramer? That's a good question. Was Jerry Kramer? I don't know what year Jerry Kramer went into the Ring of Honor. I got to go back and look. I don't think so. I think once he became a Hall of Famer, then he went into the Ring of Honor. Because I think it all happened in the same year, to be honest with you. I think Jerry was inducted into the Hall and back. And then that season was inducted into the Ring of Honor. So I would say once then Leroy is inducted into the Hall of Fame, then I could say, yeah, probably that's when he'll get in. So Charles Woodson. So should this then be the year? Is this the year that Charles Woodson should be put into the Ring of Honor? You know? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Good questions. Really good questions. I personally would say Charles Woodson, yes, and Leroy Butler, once he's inducted into the Hall of Fame or voted into the Hall of Fame, then yes, absolutely. Both of those guys belong. And again, not just as Packer Hall of Famers, but once you're in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and you've gotten that nod, that's when you should be able to go into the Ring of Honor. I would say absolutely. So there you have it. Same with Dave Robinson. You're right, Carmelo. Absolutely. 877-867-1670. Phone lines wide open. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, by all means, go ahead and do so. Listening in Mendolin, Colombia. Here for a couple of weeks. That is from Gerard. Wow. Good stuff. Wade, I think you can find the stream at Mad City Sports Zone. I don't know if it's considered a podcast yet, but you can always go back to the Facebook fan page and click on the live, what was then the live broadcast, and you can just have it play through your phone. So you can always find us that way as well. Jim writes, he said, I think Leroy Butler broke the mold on safeties because he had speed and tenacity and loved to hit as well. You don't find guys like that anymore. They don't even teach hitting to defensive backs. They just throw their bodies out there hoping players trip over them in today's day and age. I miss Leroy's style of play. I 100% agree. I agree with you. And I've said that time and again. You look at a guy like Kevin King. I was highly critical of Kevin King this past season. Just watching, and I understand there is this possibility of injury risk factor, because if you go at a guy with your shoulder, smaller guys can get dump trucked and they can have shoulder issues. Okay. But diving at players, I've seen more and more players that have been kneed in the head and can walk away with a concussion and be down for a longer period of time than having your shoulder sore. Or you don't want to play with a harness because it's not conducive to playing defensive back. But I've seen more guys lose more time because of head and neck injuries, than I have been from shoulder problems. And if you're wearing the right padding, X-Tech pads, I would say that you shouldn't even have that problem. You should be willing to lay the wood to anybody. But you are right. They do not. You see it in training camp. They wrap up. They tackle those big dummies, and they tackle those big giant donuts. They roll down the field at you and stuff like that. But they don't really practice it the way you should, and it's not something that you see defensive backs do. More of them. I appreciate a defensive back even if they grab. You know, I appreciate that, because grab a jersey, grab a thigh, grab a belt. I don't care. Grab and hold on, because then the cavalry's coming. But if you're just going to launch yourself and hope that they trip over you, how many times have we seen a guy just step over top of you, or just knock you to the side, or stiff arm you as you're diving just to the ground? Here, eat the dirt, eat the grass, put it in your helmet, look cool and dirty, but I'm going to run for another 10 to 15 yards. 100% agree. Doesn't happen like that anymore. Holly says, Charles Woodson, yes. Leroy Butler, once he's into the Hall of Fame, he should, yes, be in the Ring of Honor. Highly appreciate it. Thanks for chiming in. Mike says Charles Woodson needs to be there. He was the cog defensively. And remember his speech after the NFC Championship game? Yes, I do. He did monumental things in monumental moments for the Green Bay Packers. That season alone could probably put him there. But he had a tremendous career with the Packers in those 7 years, even though that last year was cut short because of injury. In 6.5 years, we'll say 6.5 seasons, a tremendous season with the Packers. So, but yes. Salvatore says Randy Moss was supposed to be a Green Bay Packer. Everybody thought he was coming here, and then that deal got pulled out from underneath him. Do you think this is going to happen to us again, as our hearts would be broken if J.J. Watt, a hometown hero, does not end up in Green Bay? I am of the belief, if I had to put percentages on it, if I had to now pick the Packers or the field for J.J. Watt, I'm split 50-50, and that's not like me, because I can be more pessimistic at times, but it just seems like things are trending in that direction. That just from what you see, little hints, little inclinations, when he posted the other day, all gas, no brake, which is Matt LaFleur's motto, you start to hear that, Cleveland really not in the mix. He wants to win a championship. That's what means the most. You hear about Pittsburgh. They got to figure out things. Ben Roethlisberger saying, I'll money's not an object to me. Don't worry about it. I'll take a pay cut. He wants to remain. But then again, he didn't play well down the stretch. That maybe his falling off of the table was happening right before our very eyes. And this is going to be his last season, as he may come crashing down. And if he does J.J. Watt want to be a part of that? So you start to look at the best fits for where they can give you some type of money, and where then they can also give you the best shot at winning a championship. And short of going down to Tampa Bay, we all know, and the likelihood of a repeat is very, very tough in the National Football League. So the likelihood that historically the numbers are against you already. So I don't know if I'd be saying that Tampa Bay is the place to go. There's probably a couple of places that you could go. You could go to Buffalo. And I think Buffalo is a team that's on the rise. They're very good. They're not losing a lot in free agency. So that's a team you can go and bolster that defense. Green Bay. And you can also then go ahead and talk to the Rams as well, as the Rams are now kind of shoving their chips to the middle of the table. Let's get back to the phone calls. Talk to our buddy Tornado Ed, listening to us in Arizona. Tornado Ed, how you been, buddy?
I've been pretty good. Had a heart attack at the beginning of the year, but I'm doing pretty good now. I'm getting up, looking east, and seeing the sunlight in the east, and I thank the God every day that He give me one more day.
That's great.
Just wanted to let you know. It's 65 at 10 o'clock for
Nice. That's nice.
But I don't know what they're going to do on spring training this year yet. Who knows if they're going to let the fans in or not? So waiting for that. Next week I'll be up to Grand Canyon, Verde Canyon, and Sedona. So my son's coming in. We're going to go up there.
Well, I'm glad you're doing better, pal. That's awesome.
Gee whiz, man. I'm 82, so what am I going to do? Sit there and enjoy life.
That's what you got to do, man. Enjoy every moment and every day and everything within it, no doubt.
But I'm glad to see you're back on. I got to figure out what time you're on in the morning. I finally got that figured out, so I'll be watching you a little bit more. That bed has the clutch on me unit at 9 o'clock in the morning, but.
Hey, take your time, man. Sit by the pool and put us up on a big screen somewhere, and then you can just watch the show too.
Yeah, I can do that, but Mama wants to hang on to that big TV in the living room too much on me. She won't let me have that one.
No problem, man. Once you got Days of Our Lives and Bold and Beautiful and all that kind of stuff flowing, I'm sure she's got her day planned out too, and probably hanging out with you is not at the tops of her list,
No, it is not. She wants me to get out there and do something just so I give her a break.
There you go. Good stuff. Ed, always appreciate you, pal, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Hey, before I leave, I got one for you.
Yeah.
Why do melons get married?
Oh boy, I don't know.
They can't cantaloupe.
I gotcha. All right. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
There you go. Tornado Ed.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time, man.
It has been.
Get down here so I can see you someday.
I hope to get down there real soon at some point. I know I'm not coming down for spring training, but I think a trip to Arizona is in my future without a doubt. Okay?
Okay, see you.
All right, buddy. Talk to you
Bye,
later.
Unit.
Tornado Ed. He's been listening to me a long, long time, man. Long time. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Going to go ahead. On that joke, I think we all need to recapture our breath. Just in and out a little bit. We got more right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Bill Michaels Show on the air. Buddy Dwayne says, in your opinion, who was your favorite tight end for the Packers? Says, I think Kaufman was underrated. Lynn Dickey to Kaufman. Yes. You know what? You mentioned that. I just was friended on Facebook by Paul Kaufman. I see Paul all the time. It was a shame we didn't get a chance to see each other this year, but I usually see Paul all the time, at least once a year when we're up at the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Classic. But think about the Packers tight ends. You got like Jermichael Finley, for a short, Lewis, Jared Cook. There was Tamura, obviously. Donald Lee, Brandon Bostic was infamous for the wrong reasons. I followed Tom Crabtree. God, you start to go back and you start to think about all the all-time Packers and all the names. Bubba Franks. All Bubba Franks did was catch touchdown passes. But if you look at the all-time leaders, Ron Kramer was another one. Ron Kramer. Richard Rodgers. Remember that infamous pass that he caught in Detroit? That big game in Detroit. Keith Jackson. How could I forget Keith Jackson? Marv Fleming. I see Marv Fleming all the time. Usually it's Super Bowl. Marv's always got something going on. I see Marv all the time. Marv also makes an appearance at the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Classic. I'm starting to go through the list now. Jackie Harris, Rich McGeorge, remember him? Tyrone Davis, Lance Kendricks, Jeff Thomason, Wesley Walls, Reggie Johnson, Gary Lewis, Clint Didier, John Thompson, Justin Perillo. I remember that name. I think for a while you had Dan Ross even. Somebody just said Dan Ross, didn't he play for the Bengals? I remember Dan Ross playing for Cincinnati. That might have been during the changeover in the uniforms when they went to the Super Bowl, as a matter of fact. I think Dan Ross played for the Packers. So anyway, I'm going through the list. The list of tight ends, there's not a ton of like Hall of Fame tight ends, but a lot of possession, touchdown scoring, receiving type of tight ends. But Paul Kaufman, I think he probably would go down as the best, right? Would Paul Kaufman have been the best? I'm looking at Paul Kaufman's stats. 119 games, 322 catches, 4,223 yards, and 39 touchdowns. So there's not, Chimura, 89 games, 188 catches, 2,253 yards. Keith Jackson, 25 games, 53 catches, 11 touchdowns. Marv Fleming, 95 games, 109 catches, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. So, yeah, Paul Kaufman. And let me say this, and some may not agree with me, but Paul Kaufman, you bring up Lynn Dickey. Lynn Dickey was a vastly underrated quarterback in the annals of Packer history. And the reason why is because he's been overshadowed by championships from Favre, who brought the title back to Titletown, Aaron Rodgers, who has been the second in the 1-2 punch of Hall of Famers. Then there's Bart Starr, who overshadowed everybody. But Lynn Dickey was a hell of a quarterback. He just didn't have a defense. They just didn't have a defense. But Paul Kaufman, if you start to talk about Packers tight ends in history, yeah, Paul Kaufman would probably be the guy. I think people forget how good Paul was, how vital he was to many of those teams. He's very, very solid. And like I said, it was just odd you asked that question. Just hooked up with him on Facebook. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 867-867-1670. Andrew says, don't forget, though, Lynn Dickey hurt a lot as well. Lynn Dickey got the hell beat out of him. He didn't have much of a line. You're right. He got beat up a lot. He got beat up a lot. The Kinger says, if Finley stayed healthy, how good could he have been? Boy, that's a great. He just started to come into his own. That season when he got hurt in that game against Cleveland, he had just started to play. I mean, that was the beginning of kind of his coming out. He had played extremely well, worked really hard in the offseason, had become on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. Those two guys really had started to kind of feel it. And it's just like Nick Collins. Nick Collins, well on his way to a Hall of Fame career. He goes down with a neck injury as well. What else do we have here for you? JK47, what's your favorite beer to drink while watching a game? I am it's funny. Now, if I am at Miller Park, the only thing that's available, unless you go out to Fridays, is Miller or Coors or one of the craft beers down the first base line. So I'm usually a hazy light guy. Okay, so I'll go down and do a craft beer. Coors Light if I have to. Okay, if Bud Light's not available, Coors Light. Bud Light, do a lot of, obviously. There's a couple of different ones. There is a beer that is made by Point Brewing in Stevens Point that I enjoy. If I want to go to the cider side of things, I'll go to Stella Cidre, or the Cider Boys, and I can't believe Cider Boys is not carried by more bars in the state of Wisconsin because it's a locally brewed beer, and the only thing everybody carries is Angry Orchard. I can't get over that. Cider Boys is a way better tasting cider than anything on the market. But like I said, I'll do either. If they don't have Cider Boys, I'll go Stella Cidre and go in that direction. So there you go. Getting deep today. A lot of different things to talk about. Hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket.
Welcome back to the program. It's fitting a little bit of Buckwheat Zydeco music. Very, very intertwined with Mardi Gras and going to a Mardi Gras party this weekend. Looking forward to that. Heading up to Four Seasons Island Resort and also Pine Mountain Resort up in the UP. Going to do a little social distancing there. Speaking of that, the NCAA has made an announcement. They are going to allow fans in the stands for the NCAA men's basketball tournament. 25% capacity, they say, with physical distancing permitted at all rounds, including the Final Four, a decision made in conjunction with the state and local health authorities in Indiana. Remember, they're doing it all there in Indianapolis. The 25% will include all participants, staff, family members, as well as fans. Masks and physical distancing required. The entire tournament taking place in Indianapolis and the surrounding areas. The teams are going to stay at hotels around the Indianapolis Convention Center, which is going to be used as the practice facility. And this year's tournament is going to be like no other. It just won't. But I've always said Indianapolis is tournament town. I love that place. So the Final Four are going to be held at Lucas Oil Stadium, which is where we all know the Indianapolis Colts play, with the earlier rounds at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, which is where the Pacers play, Hinkle Fieldhouse, where the Butler Bulldogs play, Indiana Farmers Coliseum, plus Mackey Arena in West Lafayette, up there on the campus of Purdue University, and Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana, home of Indiana. So there you go. Assembly Hall is going to allow 500 spectators to attend the games there. Selection Sunday set for coming up on March 14th, with the Final Four taking place April 3rd and April 5th. I am excited. I have yet, though, to receive my Thin Mints from the Girl Scouts. Between you, me, and the fence post, I think I way over-ordered as well. I had all kinds of friends this year that said, "Hey, I'm helping a friend out. I'm helping my daughter's friend. We got a cousin, a niece." So I'm like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And I usually get 1 case of Thin Mints. That pretty much lasts me through the entire NCAA tournament. Okay, eat a sleeve in the first half or the first game, then later on in the day you get the second sleeve. and you go and so on and so forth all the way through the Final Four. This year, though, got 8, and then I think it was 6 boxes of s'mores because they're really good. And then another friend of mine said, "Hey, yeah, my daughter's friend is doing it. Can you buy?" Okay, I'll give me 4 boxes of Thin Mints. Okay, great. Because I always want to help them out, So, and you never want to be looked at as that person. Yeah, okay, here's $4 or whatever it is now, $6 or whatever. Here's $6 or 1 box. It's like, come on, you can afford that. You can afford more than that. So I feel like that guy that kind of, I never want to let anybody down. So I'm like, sure, I'll take another 6 boxes. Sure, I'll take 4 here, 3. So I've got Venmo purchases out all over the joint. And I think I might have about 2.5 cases of Thin Mints and maybe a case of s'mores. And Kristen likes the caramel delight, so I got her a box of those. A case of those, I think. I think there's more girls. I might end up at your local Pick and Save, standing out front in a big, giant green outfit, maybe wearing Uggs. Maybe me and Ebo going to go out there and sell whatever we have left over. Do that.
Count me in.
Count me in, baby. There you go. Ebo, you a Girl Scout cookie person, aficionado?
You got to put the Thin Mints in the freezer, Bill.
Yes.
That's the one.
Yes.
That's the one.
Now, have you ever done Thin Mints in the freezer and then made your own homemade ice cream and stuck them in that?
No, but it sounds like a nice little weekend plan on wearing my Uggs.
Yeah, that'll blow your Uggs off. That's good stuff right there. Holy mackerel. That is good stuff. That dude writes to me in the email inbox, and he says, speaking of Uggs, talking about Uggs earlier, you were describing the uniform, as you put it. He said, as you're stating this, I was ordering my hot chocolate at Starbucks when a woman pulled up next to me in an Escalade, sure enough, gets out with these sparkly Uggs on, wearing silvery spandex pants. He said she was wearing a white fuzzy coat and a white fuzzy hat. It was as if she was waiting for you to finish the description to get out of her car. By the way, I think she had a better butt than Ebo.
Hey, come on, man. Come on, Bill. I work hard. I work hard in the gym on that.
That dude, that's what he labels himself as, and it's even that dude. I'll be honest, I have no rationale or basis or even want to when it comes to the comparison of rear ends to Ebo. So you could have told me that she had a butt like 2 VW Bugs parked next to each other with hail damage. It wouldn't have mattered to me. I'm good with that. Whatever you want to look at, you look at. I'm not going to compare any of that to Ebo. I'm just saying, okay? I have no idea what Ebo looks like from the neck down.
Chiseled. Chiseled, Bill. Chiseled.
Okay. Oh, my God. This show got off the rails early. It just did. It got off the rails early. Just happened that way. Oh, my God. JK says, oh, my goodness. JK, you got an issue, man. He said, I've ordered $580 worth of Girl Scout cookies this year. The wife is not happy. No. I mean, what does the wife eat? Is that all one type of cookie or just across the board? That's the next thing. Is that just across the board or is that all different types of cookies? Oh, by the way, this is from Aaron. Aaron says, hey, Ebo, used to work at the parent company who owns UGG. He said their slippers cannot be beat. So he's with you in your corner, man.
Bill, I'm telling you, man, a nice pair of house shoes, some slippers, it goes a long way. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's warm, it's relaxing, you name it. Style redefined.
Yep, there you go. You're right. I might have to get a pair. I might have to get a pair just to lounge in, and I'll take my picture and say you to man. By the way, JK says $580 worth of all Thin Mints. Holy mackerel. Your house will smell like that. At least you'll be pleasant coming out of the bathroom. It'll just be oozing out of your pores at that point. Salute Ebo. There you go. Mac Daddy, he writes in the Wendy's, or in the email inbox, I should say, not Wendy's. I'm still in that bad habit. He says, hey, guys, Paul Kaufman, hands down, the best tight end ever to play for the Green Bay Packers. Now the best wide receiver for the Packers is who? ? James Lofton. James Lofton was it. I mean, he was just it. Now, and I don't sit here and claim to have every statistic in front of me. For regarding the Green Bay Packers. But some of the guys that I've seen, Greg Jennings was fantastic. Devontae Adams is fantastic. But going back in history, Jordy Nelson, you've got to talk about Jordy Nelson, right? Sterling Sharp has to be on that list. Donald Driver played a ton of games. And don't forget, he was a 7th-round draft choice in '99 when I got here. Ron Wolf went to him and said, if you make this team, you'll make me look good. But Donald Driver certainly is on that list. But the ultimate receiver, the guy that the Hudson Center is named after, is Don Hudson. They say the undisputed best receiver in Green Bay Packers history. He led the league in receiving, if I'm not mistaken, as a rookie, right? Touchdowns and yards or something like that. I mean, Don Hudson has to be up there. That's hard. James Lofton, to me, I think it was just silky smooth. Remembering him playing was silky smooth. But Jordy, Devontae, Greg Jennings, Don Hudson, Driver, just all those guys. They've had some pretty good wide receivers over the years, no doubt. Without a doubt. Good stuff, though. Good question. We've got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Looking around the house, hidden behind the window and the door, searching for signs of life, but there's nobody home.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Bill Michaels Show. Hey, our buddy from WBAY-TV, Dave Schrader, coming up. After the top of the hour, we're going to talk with him a little bit, some Packers football. And we'll ask him all these questions, too. We'll see if he's got a preference. We've got some time. We'll talk with him for a little bit. I know right now he's dropping, because he was going to come on the show a little early. He's dropping his daughter off at the Sitters as he gets ready to go into the office. So we're going to talk with him here in just a little bit. So he is going to be joining us and talking some more Packers football and Packers draft and all that kind of good stuff. And hey, thanks to everybody for chiming in, not only on Twitter and on Facebook, but also on the platforms for the streaming. And this one, legitimate question. This is from Julie. Says, what's the matter with the Bucs and the Badgers? I think they give up way too many threes. First of all, I agree. Secondly, their shooting has been, to say it's hot and cold might be an understatement. It just doesn't materialize. It's not consistent. And when you're talking about playing defense, boarding and stuff under the boards in the paint, the Badgers, the Badgers they're a more physical and a tenacious team than what we're witnessing. They've been able to do this better over the years. This year, they're just not getting the inside done, so to speak. And then we can say what we want about defense, and you can get into all the coverages, or whether it's man or whether it's zone, and they pack it in, they don't defend, whatever you want to say. The bottom line is when they do get the ball and they get open looks, they don't hit them. They just don't hit them. So this one's from the Kinger. Says the Bucs and Badgers, they're not cold. They're frozen. And I would agree with that. They both of them, shooting wise, are just cold. Yeah, and this is why you hope the Badgers get a win on Sunday and maybe steal one before the end of the season, and then get into the tournament and just get hot. Because to win anything when it comes to postseason success, you got to be good, you got to be healthy, you got to be lucky, and you got to get hot at the right time. And maybe the Badgers the problem is the Badgers have been so up and down when it comes just to shooting. It's for everything else you want to get on. And you can scream about Greg Gard and such all you want. That's fine. But when you get a wide open look and your guys just aren't hitting it, if a coach is running plays or putting you in situations and matchups to where you're going to have an open look and you don't hit it, you can't go. That's like a coach being fired because his wide receivers aren't catching the ball. If a guy's got stone fingers, there's nothing you can do about it. You ran a play in a matchup in which he got open. His physical capability you saw, and you ran that play and he got open. He's there. The play was there. And then if the player drops the ball, that's not on the coach. That's on the player. So if a guy gets a wide open look and doesn't hit it, I guess if I'm Greg Gard at this point, maybe I take up the Mike Budenholzer mantra. Let it fly. You watch these guys, and I appreciate the fact that they're passing the ball, they're looking for the open look, they're working it, they're working the defense, trying to get them worn down a little bit. But man, when you get open looks, take it. Take it. JK says, is it time to trade Giannis? Oh my God, no. Oh my God, no. What is this? This is from our buddy Ed. Says, Unit, catch you next week. Mom wants me to go to the store, help her carry the water in. It's a little bit heavy for her and her shoulder. Was great talking to you. Missed you for a while. There you go. That's our good buddy Tornado Ed. What's this? This is from Dennis. The Bucs need to fire their head coach right now, who has no clue how to properly use Giannis on the offense or defense. Sadly, the Badgers basketball team has a similar problem as Gard refuses to adapt to his offense that most every opponent has figured out by now. And again, that I'm not really big on firing to fire. Okay, I don't necessarily, because he's got a track record of success. I'm not big on firing to fire, but at more, watch the game, and I say, okay, are they getting open looks? Yeah. What do they do well? Well, if you're missing layups, you're not doing that well. That's not. If you have layups, what more do you want the coach to do? He can't shoot it for him. I think Greg is a good recruiter. I think he's a really solid head coach. What he did last year with this team, I thought was so incredibly solid when people were starting to write him off at that point. So the question then becomes, was last year just kind of an apparition where things came together, and then this year is now more the reality of coaching? Because if he wins the Coach of the Year last year, and he's a damn good coach, and you're high on him, why did this year become so bad? When you're a veteran-laden team. You know? I mean, that's my question. Was it coaching? Or you're just looking at guys that are just pressing? I mean, would you say that the hitting coach last year should have been fired by the Brewers because Christian Yelich didn't hit? Is that on Yelich? Or is that on the hitting coach? Maybe he got into a bad habit, but the bottom line was, between you, me, and the fence post and Christian Yelich, he started pressing. He started to come around at the end of the season. He kind of figured it out. But up until that point, he had said, I was pressing. My numbers got down. I knew what I needed to put my numbers back to where they belong. So every at-bat became life or death. Instead of just going up there and doing your thing. Just go do your thing. And maybe that's what needs to happen to the Badgers. You know what? Maybe you come in, you want to work really hard, you want to have a great practice, you really want to set hard ball screens, you want to be able to do things to get guys with open looks. Okay, pass the basketball. But then maybe it's got like, hey, guys, we got nothing to lose at this point. You know it. I know it. We've kind of sucked swamp water here down the stretch, right? Yeah, we're better than this. You know it, and I know it. So just go be you. You go do you, okay? You go do you, and if you do you better than what I've been screaming about, go for it. Let's do this. Don't worry about it. Let's let it go. Past is the past. Let's see if we can't win the next 3 out of 4. Let's do this. And then move on from there. That's my approach at this point, because everything else has kind of gone awry. Freddie says most of the fifth-year guys, they look like they don't even want to be there. Sorry, Potter has been pouting and arguing with coaches. Reavers does not look at all like he has in the past. Unless something behind the scenes has gone so wrong, that we don't know about, that has become a serious internal coaching issue, Greg Gard is back for another year. That I'll say. The Kinger says, no wonder why Matt LaFleur is wanting his own guy, a.k.a. Mr. 0-16 for the Lions from 2008. Oh, boy, that's a whole other topic for a whole other time. We can talk about that coming up, too. Dave Schrader, who works at WBAY-TV in Green Bay, he's going to be joining us. We'll talk with him. Coming up, going back to the basketball side of things, Freddie says they missed 11 layups, dunk the damn ball, draw a foul, do something. That's what I'm saying. You get layups and open looks. That's not coaching. That's not coaching. That's just, guys, that's concentration. That means you are so locked up. You're locked up. Something's got the team just underwear creeping way up, right? You're just locked up. You're flinching up. If you're missing layups, you're locked up. Something's wrong. That's where coaching comes in to say, guys, just relax. Just let it go. Let's just go. Let's just go win a game. Let's go win a half. Let's go win a timeout. You know, between here and the first timeout, let's win this. Let's win this segment. Let's do that. Do it that way. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Who knows? Coming up after the top of the hour, our buddy Dave Schrader is going to be joining us. We're going to talk with him, WBAY-TV in Green Bay, talk with him about J.J. Watt. We'll talk with him about, since the season has ended, we'll get his thoughts on what personnel moves, what he thinks is going to happen within the Packers organization. That is coming up. We'll get into that discussion. So hang in there for that. In addition to that, we'll talk with him also about his thoughts regarding others restructuring, and that is Aaron Rodgers, contract extension for Devontae Adams. Who else he thinks maybe on the restructure sideline, so to speak, whether it's Zadarius Smith or somebody else. And we'll talk personnel moves and needs through the draft. That is all coming up as we continue on. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. The midway point of the Bill Michaels Show. Here, gone. We got more right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin has lost back-to-back games for the first time in more than a year. That's after a 77-62 loss to number 11 Iowa at the Kohl Center last night. Badgers fought, getting to within 3 about midway through the second half, but the Hawkeyes answered, outscoring them 28-16 the rest of the way. Wisconsin had little answer for Luka Garza, scored 30 points, but it was another rough night offensively, too. Iowa came in with the worst defense of the Big Ten, but held the Badgers to 30% shooting on the night, their worst effort of the year. Brad Davison says they remain confident despite their continued struggles from the field.
Can't really worry about if it's going in or not. You got to think about the quality of the shot. So that goes for me or the rest of our team. If we're having shooting struggles, whether it's from 3 or from 2 or the free throw line, you just got to continue to trust your work, trust your shot. We always say it. We believe in one another that if shots are open, we're going to knock them down. Everyone's got all sorts of answers of why that may be or why not. But when it comes down, you just got to make the shot. And you got to take good shots and knock them down.
Wisconsin will be at Northwestern on Sunday. Turn to the Bucks. They have lost 5 straight games for the first time in 4 years. Fell last night to Toronto, 110-96. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 23 points, 12 rebounds. They will host Oklahoma City tonight. Meanwhile, Antetokounmpo named an all-star starter for a 5th straight year.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have it every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Well, the Brewers held their first workout for pitchers and catchers yesterday down in Arizona. They will be joined this weekend by position players. First full team workout slated for early next week. First Cactus League game is February 28th. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Kyle Pritt.
On this Fish Fry Friday, we begin hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show, and we are so glad to have you on board. Plenty of ways to get a hold of us. Follow me on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, on Facebook and Facebook Live, The Bill Michaels Show, YouTube and Twitch, where we stream live every day. And you can watch the video there and be part of the show and interact. YouTube and Twitch. I urge you and more so plead with you to subscribe and like us over there at Bill Michaels. Just say Bill Michaels, Michaels. So thanks so much for being a part of the program in so many different facets. If you're with us over on the Facebook fan page, follow me there, please. If you would give us a thumbs up, like us on YouTube, like us Twitch. It'll have others subscribe as well, so it puts out a good word for us. So really, the success of the show is in your hands. It really is. It's if this show ends up sucking, your fault. I don't want any of the blame for that. Speaking of enjoying time and having a good time on the good side of things, our buddy Dave Schrader from WBAY TV joining us now on the hotline. Dave, man, it was a weird year not seeing you and hanging out with you down at Super Bowl, man. It was just weird. How you been?
I've been well, and it was weird this year. But, I mean, that was the least of the weird things this year, I suppose. But that was certainly one of them. Yeah,
it's just been so incredibly strange. So I completely agree. Now, since the season has ended And obviously, there's a possibility of a restructure in Rodgers, players, and J.J. Watt's available. And so where you want to start? I mean, what direction Packers go? Let's start with, let me ask you this. First and foremost, what do you think of the hire of the defensive coordinator?
I think that I wish they had got Jimmy Leonard. And I say, obviously, they had got Jimmy Leonard. It's tough weeks out that the guy you wanted to hire turned it down, But with the guy you wanted to hire being in state, there was no way that it was ever going to not leak out. So, and if you're Joe Barry, you got to feel a little bit like, hey, I wasn't their first choice. But hey, what's done is done. Now get to work. That's what I think.
What do you think of Joe Barry? I mean, the track record as a defensive coordinator is not great. Statistically, they were a little bit better under him, but obviously an 0-16 Detroit Lions team and a rough go in Washington. So as a defensive coordinator, it hasn't necessarily been loaded with success.
Those are valid points. The Packers have more talent than the defenses he coordinated, but you really have to judge him based on the merits of what happens this fall. I know we like to predict and do this and that, but when Mike Pettin came down, he had done nothing but coach top 10 defenses. It took him till his third to get a 9th-ranked defense. His other two defenses ranked, I believe, 14th with the Packers. So track record does not mean anything. I guess it's like the stock market. Past performance does not dictate future returns. It gives you an indication of what could happen, but it is no guarantee. I think we really have to see what happens, and I think what happens with J.J. Watt, the salary cap, and who they have to restructure, who they have to let go is going to have a large part with how they perform, and Barry performs.
It's really not usually the Packers' way to pick up a free agent like a J.J. Watt that could demand some money on the backside of his career. But this is a guy that wants to win a championship. Do you think J.J. Watt ends up as a Green Bay Packer?
To answer this question, I take my skepticism and I put it on a shelf and I ask myself, if I am J.J. Watt, what do I want to do? Obviously, he wanted his release from Houston. He could have tried to cash a $17 million paycheck this year to stay with the team, and that probably would have been a good idea. Make money. The Texans, all sorts of bad things. Imagine the bad PR if they had just cut JJ without him requesting to be cut. So obviously, I don't think money's his number one priority. I think, and if you're a player like JJ Watt, where do you want to go that you're going to win? Are you going to take a chance? They're an ascending team. They'll get over the hump. A Baltimore team say they're really good. They'll get over the hump. No, I want to go one of three places. I want to go somewhere that's been there before and won, albeit a long time ago, but still with the same Aaron Rodgers. I want to go somewhere that is proven they can get to the big years in a row, Kansas City, or I want a championship chase with Tom Brady. To me, it's three choices right there. And to me, the Buccaneers kind of have the defense they want. Ndamukong Suh is amenable to taking less money to help win again. He's been talking with Tom Brady and his GM. And I think Kansas City is an outlier. You don't see a team make the Super Bowl year except the Patriots. The last 4 decades, there have only been 2 teams to go to 3 or more Super Bowls in a row. The Bills in the early 90s, 4 in a row, and the Patriots in 16, 17, and 18. As much as I think the Chiefs are the team that beat the AFC, I think it's hard to go 3 years in a row. So if I'm JJ, I'm going home. I'm taking a bit of a discount to do it, and I'm going to try to win in Wisconsin.
Okay. Do you then are you cutting complete ties with Aaron Jones, or are you franchise tagging him?
Cutting ties with Aaron Jones, unless the cap is way higher than the $180 million announced yesterday. It was $198.2 last year. They pre-negotiated the cap floor $175. Yesterday, we get the word it's at least $180. If that's like $190, maybe you pay Jones. But in general, I think you and I have had this discussion before. You do not pay running backs in today's NFL. I did a story before last season. The largest cap hit for any running back on the team that won the Super Bowl, except for Marshawn Lynch in the last decade, was $2.5 million. Aaron Jones is not $2.5 million.
Right.
So I'm sorry, but I think he's on the way out the door, and he deserves every penny he gets, and he should get it because he's a running back and he's got a tough lot in life. It's just not going to be in Green Bay.
What kind of a hole, what kind of a void does that then leave for the backfield of the Green Bay Packers?
All depends on how good A.J. Dillon is, right? And how good he could be in the pass-catching game.
See, I agree with
that.
that.
And I think the sky's the limit with that guy. But I think what we saw from him, even in his limited action, is that he can catch the ball a lot better than maybe people presumed when he came out of Boston College. So I think they're in good hands with Jay Dillon. You don't take it back in the second round unless you think he.
I really like Aaron Jones. It's just there's something about the guy that it's going to be. It's going to be so hard to watch without that extra gear, that little jump step, that quickness, that burst that he has, to say that they're going to be able to overcome that, because that's not what A.J. Dillon is. Maybe they pick up another running back in the draft. We'll have to wait and see. So what are the priorities for this team? I mean, obviously you would assume Kevin King is gone. You're always could use middle linebacker depth. You need more depth up front with Kenny Clark. You need another tackle because David Bakhtiari is not going to be back for a while. So what are your priorities going into this season?
See, that's a tough one because the Packers do such a great job, Brian Gutekunst, Russ Ball, managing the cap to not have any year where the sky's falling at a bunch of positions. But they always assume the cap's going to keep going up. COVID throws a wrinkle in it. While they've been responsible, I was looking at it today, a lot of teams are carrying over a lot of extra cap space from this year into next year. The Packers, there's only 3 teams with less cap space carryover this year than the Packers. It's not an indictment of what they've done. That's really responsible with a win now mentality, trying to use your dollars to win. It's just, it puts them in the bind. And it's a really tough one because in addition to the injury with Bakhtiari, you're likely going to restructure and cut Billy Wagner to try to make some cap space. You're looking at Christian Kirksey probably out the door due to cap considerations. Even a good guy like Dean Lowry, as Rob Demofsky, our friend, extolled in his article yesterday, he's probably on the outside looking in too, simply because the dollars and cents are changing next year. And while you might say it's try to, toe the line through a year before that goes up, I think that's also irresponsible. I think you've kind of got to go for it this year, which is why I think J.J. Watt's likely going to end up in Green Bay. You're going to go for it. You're going to kick the can down the road, but that's also responsible because you're going to get a lot of money next year. The cap's going to go back up. The TV deals are going to come in and all that stuff. So I think that the first area to address in terms of needs is going to be offensive line of the ones you mentioned, but you're not going to be able to plug all the holes. An inside linebacker, I think, is always going to be a challenge until you spend a top 5 pick or something on a guy like a Devin White. Go for a Wagner like the Niners got, or a Darius Leonard like the Colts got. And the Colts got Darius Leonard lower in the draft. Those guys don't grow in trees. You have to really hit it really well for that work out for you immediately.
What do you, which is all intriguing, what do you think it has to be garnered in free agency? Because I look at it as, well, it all starts with Aaron Rodgers. If he's going to do a restructure, and you would assume he would, then what? I mean, because you're still going to need more money. You're still going to have to figure out, as I said, Zadarius Smith, you could restructure. He's still young enough to be able to do so. Aaron Jones, or Aaron Rodgers, you got to get a contract extension for Devontae Adams. You got to get that taken care of. So is that the direction you're also thinking, or is you thinking?
I think everyone who's in the top 10 of your salary, you've got to either restructure or cut. I mean, you've got to lay it out for them. Hey, we can restructure you. It'll give you more guarantees. It'll give you actually more job security in a lot of situations. But we got to do it or we're not going to win. Everyone who's in the top 10 highest paid Packers in terms of cap hits next year, they've got to do something to help this team compete, or they're going to be in a world of hurt next year. Now, how many of these guys are team players? I would presume a lot of them. But even like a guy like Adrian Amos, love him, hate him. He does some good things. He gives up a couple big plays, but I like the guy. Maybe you add a couple years on and you extend him. I think everyone who makes money, you've got to address it one way or another. And there's going to be a lot of tough decisions to make.
So
it doesn't help to work with the cheap guys. You got to look at the big bloated contracts.
So I agree. How much money? Because I said when I kind of went through that, over the cap thing and started playing with the numbers, I could come up with, depending on what, if we were thinking the cap was still going to be at about 175 to 180 million bucks, I could come up with about 22 to 24 million dollars worth of cap space for this team. Now, if it goes a little higher, you're probably talking about maybe $30 million worth of cap space. You always save about 9 for rookies, 8 to 9 for rookies. And then after that, you start to dole out the money. Is there a possibility, instead of drafting yourself a lineman, do you keep Corey Linsley?
Depends on J.J. Watt. I think Linsley will command too much money. I think Aaron Jones will command too much money. They'll be irresponsible. I think Kevin King, replacement level rookie is probably the way to go there. I just think as good as these guys have been at times for the Packers and for a long time for Corey Linsley and Aaron Jones, I just think the cap considerations make it a tough world to live in. And as much as we love those guys, love talking to those guys, and love the people they are in the community for the Packers, Aaron Jones and Corey Linsley, I'm sorry, I just don't see it working out unless they're taking hometown discounts. And if I'm them, I wouldn't. And if I'm Brian Gutekunst, I don't begrudge them that. I don't insult them by saying, here's a low offer. I'll say, hey, we could do a low offer. You deserve more. Do you want to stay and take less? Because this is all I can give you.
Right. And I don't think he's going to do that either, unless, of course, his options are minimal for really bad teams.
Or you could do some crazy guarantee with Corey Linsley where it's basically some huge roster bonus and salary in year 2, and the signing bonus is basically all he gets besides the veteran minimum this year, but you kind of like talk with the guy about keeping him 2 years no matter what and work it that way where he feels comfortable you're not going to cut him, and then you have a huge number for him in 2 years. Maybe you could work something out like that where he feels safe and secure, yet you don't really have any cap number this year, but you do next year. Maybe something like that could keep a guy like Corey around, but it's above my pay grade to work out all the kinks of doing that. What's the term Mahomes coined last year? Guarantee mechanism or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Talking with Dave Schrader, by the way, of WBAY-TV in Green Bay about the Packers in this upcoming offseason. A guy like Devin Funchess. Funchess still around, or do you think they end up cutting him and creating a little additional cap relief?
I would guess they end up cutting him for some additional cap relief unless they really believe in the dude that hasn't played much football in a while. Because remember, he was hurt with the Colts.
Right.
He was hurt a couple times with the Panthers. He showed promise, but at this point, he's entitled to opt out like he did last year. But I think he's got to realize when he did that his future in Green Bay was very much on uncertain terms. And I don't know. I don't think he'll be back, but I could be wrong. Maybe they think he provides something. But then you saw what MVS and Allen Lazard did down the stretch. Packers feel 100 million times better about the receiver room now than they did this time last year, and nothing's changed. So, props to those guys for taking the step.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I really like the way Marquez Valdes-Scantling began to come on. Now, he still has the concentration issues with running before he's actually made the catch, and he does have some drops that were rather significant. But is he now emerging as the true number 2?
I think so. I really, really think he's going to be a superstar next year. You look at what he did this year, and Aaron Rodgers midseason brought it up. This guy may have a drop or two, may have a fumble or two, but he's got more 50-plus yard touchdowns than anybody in Packers' recent history for some guy in his first 3-4 years in the league. And I believe he led the league last year in catches over 45 yards. He led the league, I know, in yards per catch. Imagine if he doesn't drop the ball against the Bears. Imagine if he doesn't drop a ball or two in Minnesota earlier in the year. Imagine if he catches everything that hits his gloves. And that's one of the best receivers in the league.
Right.
And I think you're going to have to live with the fact he's going to drop the ball. But it's become to the point where you actually expect him to catch it more often than not. It used to be the other way around. But the tipping point has been reached, and I think he's become a really good player. And I think next year he is going to be even better with his Packers offense.
Yeah,
it's really remarkable to see how he's come on.
I agree with you. I think that he has really begun to kind of show himself, and it took him a lot. It took him a little bit longer, but once he was highlighted, it was kind of like, you're either going to sink or swim, so you better figure it out. And he started to figure it out. Now, I really like the way he came on. What do you think about Equanimeous St. Brown?
I grew up in South Bend. I'm a big Notre Dame fan.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he's had some poor performances, not a lot of great ones. The 2-point conversion, you can overlook it because of a lot of things, the hold on Kevin King, the failures in the red zone in the NFC title game. That was huge. You make that a 3-point game there. That was huge. I mean, it maybe doesn't change things at the end, but it makes it just a field goal game. It stemmed the tide of the momentum. The momentum was so fully on the Packers' side, and from that drop on, despite the interceptions by the defense, just the offense didn't get a whole lot going to that final drive when they didn't get it in the end zone.
Dave, great
He had
stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Finish up.
He had a couple drops, I believe, the loss to the Vikings at home that were going to be tough catches, but you got to make a couple of those to want to hang on. He's got one more year under contract. I don't think he'll be around longer than that.
Always good to talk to you, my friend. I missed you going to Super Bowl this year, but we'll get back out and at it again real soon, and hopefully we can all regather once the draft is done and we've got mini camps and OTAs and all that kind of stuff to get to, okay?
Hoping so. Thanks, Bill.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. There you go. That's our good buddy Dave Schrader from WBAY-TV in Green Bay, and always great to get a chance to talk to him. Always fun, too. Very knowledgeable, and very I like the fact that he's just very frank about it. It's like, this is what it is. This is what he believes. Here you go. How are we looking? And it's always good stuff. I appreciate his time, and thanks for joining us on the program. Your thoughts on everything we just discussed. I've got some tweets and emails coming in already over everything we were talking about for people that were listening to the interview. Give me your thoughts. Cuts, franchise tags, what you think, what direction you're going to go, who is and isn't going to be on this team, what you would do with them. That is next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Now, just in what we were talking about a little while ago, Fred J63 hits us up, and if you're following me on the stream, you can see it. But the top 11 Green Bay Packers salaries are Rodgers, Adarius Smith, Devontae Adams, Preston Smith, David Bakhtiari, who's already restructured, Adrian Amos, Billy Turner, Christian Kirksey, Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, Wagner. I'm figuring this out. I have to kind of scroll down a little bit to make sure of all of this. But if I'm going to get some money on the books here, and this is, I think it's been adjusted a little bit, but what I would do, I'd restructure Aaron Rodgers. I would restructure Zadarius Smith. I would restructure Adrian Amos. I would extend, obviously, a contract extension for Devontae Adams. Preston Smith, I would cut. Christian Kirksey, I would cut. Dean Lowry, I would cut. I would also cut Funchess. And that's about it as far as the bigger salaries that are out there. That gives me, that's without whatever number it is you're going to, whatever you're going to do for Devontae Adams. Let's just say you just extend Devontae Adams, whatever it's going to be. I don't know what your projected money is going to be. But that would put me at about $26.5 million to be able to spend. If I do it that way, it puts me at about $26.5 million to spend. So there's money there to sign J.J. Watt, depending on what he wants. Then the guys you want to bring back, okay? Probably, could you bring back Mercedes Lewis? You could. Robert Tonyan, yes. Smaller salary, Shannon Sullivan, yes. Maybe you keep Jamal Williams then for a smaller number as the 1-2 punch behind Corey Dillon, even though I consider them almost the same runner. Alan Lazard, I try to bring him back. Raven Green, I try to bring him back. Nyman, I try to bring him back. His name's always killed me. And then you work on Corey Linsley. That's the direction I go. That's including J.J. Watt. Now, the one area that I would go additionally, I'd start looking for a defensive back, a veteran defensive back on a 1 or 2 year deal that's looking to win a championship. That's the next direction I go. That's the way I would do it. Do you agree? 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. That's what I would do. My opinion. This one's from Jacob. Jacob writes in the email inbox, and he says, it starts with Aaron Rodgers. Once he restructures, everybody trickles down. He's the guy making all the money, and if he does it, why wouldn't everybody else do it? Rodgers is the leader of this team. Well, yeah, but you got to remember, he's also the highest paid. He's got his $100 and something million. I don't even know what he's got in the bank already, so to speak. But between his endorsements and what he's made in salary, it's easier to say when you're the highest paid guy what you should take, what kind of a pay cut you should take because of the deals you've already done. Remember, he signed a 5-year, $7.5 million contract with the Packers originally, then signed a 6-year, $63.52 million contract. So now you're up to almost $71 million. And then signed an additional $110 million extension. You're talking almost $200 million. You know? So he converted the $14.26 million of his 2020 roster bonus into a signing bonus, and that cleared $8.5 million. So for people that say Aaron Rodgers doesn't restructure, yes, he does. He's done that. He just did that this past season. So, yeah, he's already given up quite a bit of money. Not giving it up, but you know what I'm talking about. He's restructured quite a bit of money anyway. But yeah, I would assume that he's going to do that. I would assume he's going to do that. But you're talking almost $200 million. So it's easy. And my point for all that discussion is it's easier for a guy that's made $200 million and he's got it sitting in the bank and you're living in the $20 million Malibu mansion to say, you know what? I'll give back $10 million this year. I've got 200. What's 190 among friends, right? I can give back 10 million. I can give back 12 million. I can give back, but it's going to be, I'm going to get it. It's just, I'm going to change the course of which it's given to me. So yeah, he would most likely do that. It's easier for him to do it than for, say, somebody who's only made their first 8 million, who wants theirs. They're out to get their money. So when you say that, yeah, he's the leader. Yes, I completely agree with you. But it's the opposite when it comes to those who are between the haves and the have-nots, if that makes sense. We'll step away, take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
From the kennel to the coop, Fleet Farm has everything you need to keep your animals happy and healthy. Whether you're training your pup to sit, mastering those retrieval skills, flipping your horse for competition, keeping the backyard birds well fed, or loving your pets like family. There's a reason people say, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, I don't need it. Because we have it all. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Billy man, come on. 6 o'clock news says somebody been shot. Somebody's been abused. Somebody blew up a building. Somebody stole a car. Somebody got away. Somebody didn't get too far. Yeah, they didn't get too far.
Grandpappy told my pappy back in my day, son, a man had to
Welcome back. We are glad you are with us.
take all the rope in Texas, find a tall oak tree.
Hopefully you're enjoying your day today. One of the questions that was posed to me is Richard Sherman available? And Richard Sherman, the 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback, seems to know that he's going to need to find a new home this offseason. He finished his 3rd season with the 49ers. Told the Sacramento Bee it's been made pretty clear he will not be back with the team next season, citing a recent conversation with 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan and their general manager. Said it was a good conversation, nothing crazy, just a good conversation about where they are, where I am, and their plans. We are both very positive, as good in a situation. 32 years old, played just 5 games last season after dealing with a calf injury. Recorded just a single interception, caught 18 total tackles. Signed a 3-year deal with the team prior to 2018. He's set to become an unrestricted free agent. He has spent his first 7 seasons in the NFL with the Seahawks and won a Super Bowl. He also has made 3 All-Pro teams in his day. Now, the question is, Sherman, who told ESPN's Stephen A. Smith, he wants to play 2 more years, but he wants to be with a competitive team. Would you go after Richard Sherman? Would Richard Sherman be a guy that you would consider grabbing and bringing in as that defensive back, and then you draft a defensive back, and then you allow Richard Sherman to kind of be a tutor for the incoming guy? I don't know if that's a Charlton-esque move or not, since he's a little bit further on down the road than Woodson was when Woodson got here, but would you consider that? Freddie J says, nope, not on Sherman. Christian says, I would like to see Sherman come here, but he'd have to come here at a really cheap price. I don't know if his ego will allow him to do that. You got to put the rhetoric aside. You know, you really do. You have to think about that. You have to put the rhetoric of Richard Sherman aside. There are some people that just don't like what he has to say. I understand that, but you got to put the rhetoric aside. As a player, as a knowledgeable player. Now, he's not going to remember. He used to be the lockdown. He was the guy. He's not the guy anymore. They were using him as the guy in San Francisco. Jair's the man. Okay, so if you brought Sherman in, he's your second guy. He has to swallow that pill that he is not the man anymore. So that's the question. Would you, if you bring him in, one, does he accept his role? Two, does he help educate whoever it is you draft and bring in? That might not be, I don't think I'm as quick to dismiss it as many of you are. And there is no choice. If choice between JJ and Richard Sherman, you take JJ. You need help up front. You win games in the trenches. I'm saying if you can afford Richard Sherman at, say, a vet, I don't even know if he'd take a vet's minimum, but in that area, coming off of a year in which he was injured because of a muscular injury, it's a very tough thing to swallow. You got to pass physicals and such first. But that might not be a bad way to go. I'm not as quick to dismiss it as many of you are. 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. Would you go in that direction? Let's see here. This is from The Source. The Source says Richard Sherman still has something left in the tank. It would be intriguing, but I don't think he's going to take less than $5 million a year. See, I haven't read that. I don't know what he would take. Just like people estimate, what J.J. Watt wants to play for. I don't know. Richard Sherman already has a ring. So you don't know what his level of I'll give anything to get another ring is. Is he looking for, I'll give anything to get another ring. I want to be with a competitive team, but I want to be with a competitive team for, say, $8 million a year. You know? This is one from the Grumpy Man. His name's Gary. Gary the Grumpy Man says, Richard Sherman, no way. Just don't like the attitude. Again, you got to put the rhetoric aside. Do you think he can play? He can play. Scott says, I'd take Patrick Peterson over Richard Sherman. If Patrick Peterson's affordable, yeah, I would too. I would too. I'm strictly looking at veterans that know the game, that can come in and start and fill in right now. Because if you think you're going to go get a corner in the draft who's going to be this lockdown corner, that is a few and far between rarity. Even if they're quality, it takes them a little while. You don't usually get it in your first year. And you don't have time to develop a bunch of players. What you got to do is you beef up front is beef up front. You can work with that. Specialty positions, you need veterans, guys that have been there. And then looking at your cap situation, you need guys that have been there, and you need cheap guys that have been there. Because it's not going to happen any other way. I mean, you can catch lightning in a bottle and maybe find that one draft choice that you just never expected to blossom. And yeah, they all of a sudden come on. But the likelihood, historically speaking, the likelihood of that, there is not a likelihood of that. It doesn't mean they can't be good. It just means that level of knowledge and play and ability and awareness on the field and absorption of all that information has to be on an expedited level. It just does. It just does. Let's see here. This is from Jerry. Jerry says, I don't think that Richard Sherman has it anymore. He's looked a step slow for quite some time. The injury would probably hamper him even more. I would go in Patrick Peterson's direction. I would too. I wouldn't do it for crazy money because you're not going to have the kind of crazy money to spend. That's all. Jolene says no to Richard Sherman. Too outspoken, not a Packer type of player. This one's from the Colorado Dave. Listening to us in Boulder, by the way. Says, love me some Richard Sherman. He still has attitude, and that's what this defense needs, is a bunch of freaking attitude. What do people not get? We're always talking about they don't have nasty. Now they got somebody who they could get that would be nasty, and you don't want them. Hyper Steve says, I'd love to see Richard Sherman in green and gold, but I'd love to see him alongside yet another player that they would pick up. Would Patrick Peterson be affordable as well? No, you're not going to do both. No, because you have needs. You have more needs. You know? No, they're not going to sign Patrick Peterson, J.J. Watt, and Von Miller. That's not happening. Just not going to happen. Scott says Patrick Peterson over Sherman. Frosty the Snowman says, hey, just look at it. The crappier the team they play on, the more money they want. That's true. If you're going to go to a crappy team and you're going to have to sustain crappiness for a long period of time, yeah, you want to be paid for it. At least at night you can rest your head and lay your head down on a pillow full of money, right? The Sooner football fan says, what is this about the Green Bay Packers being able to heat their field? Richard Sherman, no. Let me give you the misnomer about this, okay? So I think he's more referring to what's going on down south because I think it's more of an Oklahoma fan. But let me say this. The heated field allows the grass to grow. It doesn't mean if you lay on it, it's hot or warm, okay? It means that it doesn't freeze up and it doesn't make the grass that's planted there go dormant. So when you put the grow lights on top of the field, and you have the field that's warmed underneath it, it doesn't allow the ground to freeze. There's a misnomer out there that this field's heated and it's like, laying on a hot tub. No, it's not. Not at all. If anything, it creates a moisture, which creates a condensation with the tarp on it. And then when you take the tarp off, temperatures, it becomes an ice skating rink because on top, it's slick. So the whole heated field thing is just a giant misnomer. And it's not like turning on the heat in your car and suddenly you're warm. Just so we're clear. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. More of the Bill Michael Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michael Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Great question. Great question. Numerous people have popped up on the live stream, which, by the way, if you're listening to the program, thank you so much. I'm Bill Michaels. It's the Bill Michaels Show. We have a live stream. You can always follow the show and watch it. Not that I'm really anything to look at, but if you just kind of have an intrigue there, maybe you want to put it on in your office or something, and you don't have the regular stream or whatever it happens to be, you want to follow us on Facebook. On YouTube and Twitch, both of those channels, please subscribe and like it and such. Really appreciate it over on YouTube and Twitch. Twitch, I think I'm up to like 30 followers. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, but I thank you very much. We all got to get together. We got to do like one night we'll take YouTube people out, the next night Twitch people out or something like that. We got to do something. But thanks to everybody for paying attention to the program on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe and like on Twitch, and it's just simply just YouTube or Twitch and then Bill Michaels. Just search Bill Michaels and you'll find it. But the question is, whatever happened to the Packers drafting and developing? Great question. That is a great question because you're seeing it now. Aaron Jones, you draft him, you develop him. Top running back, gone. What are you going to do with Jair Alexander? He's coming up too. That cat's lockdown corner, man. They make their money, and they make their money right now. Devontae Adams, you got to extend him. You got to give him a contract extension. He's ready to go. He's in the last year of his deal. So you draft him, you develop him, and then they walk? You're supposed to be able to draft and develop and keep them here in your own backyard, right? When you pay and I'm not blaming Aaron Rodgers, but when you pay quarterbacks $20, $35, $45 million, eventually that money catches up with you. Eventually that money catches up with you. And it just has. So what was Brady making this past season? I got to look. And see what Brady was making because, and I've given this number before. Tom Brady this year, his base salary was $15 million. His total cap hit, because they accelerated his roster bonus, was 28.3. $28.3 million. So when you're sitting there at about what, $200 million, I think was the So yeah, it's minimal amount of a team's total and won a Super Bowl. No team has ever, or no quarterback has ever done that. So yeah, Tom Brady, not. He's creeping in on it, but not total. When you're talking about 28.3 million versus 200 million. So, This is from Jack. Jack says Brady made a lot of money this year, but it wasn't in base salary. It was I just went over that. It was roster bonus of $10 million. He also got $3.375 million bonus as well, a payment. No, I take that back. By the time they adjusted his salary, it came to 14.9. So Tom Brady actually became the first quarterback. Now that I look at this, 28.6 million was the calculated market. 28.3 was the actual hit, came to 14.97 of his. Oh, no, wait a minute. Okay, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. That's wrong because that's 2021. I'm going back to this here real quick. Tom Brady's total cap hit for 2020, 13.8. 13.89. So just over 13%. So it's right about the same amount that that Steve Young did it. Steve Young did it at 13.5. So no quarterback has ever done more than 13.5 of total cap space in their team and gone on to win a Super Bowl. So if Brady would win it again this year, this upcoming year, he would then be the first guy to break it more than 13.5%. Okay, so we're still on the same path. I'm just trying to look at this. I apologize. Just never ever do math on the air, but I'm getting all these different questions about salary cap space and players that have won, and because like Flacco never won it after he got paid. Eli never won it after he got paid. Manning never won it when he was getting the big money. And even when he went to Denver, his first year he got paid. His next year, when they bolstered the defense, or 2 years after that when they bolstered the defense, his salary had gone down exponentially. Then that's when they had Von Miller and company, and they won it. Brady is the first guy to get over 13% of his team's total salary cap to win a Super Bowl since Steve Young did it, making 13.5% of his team's total salary cap. Interesting. And this year as it sits, now they're going to restructure Aaron Rodgers. But this year as it sits, Aaron Rodgers right now making 19.91% of his team's total salary cap. 19.91. Once you get over that 15 mark, you start letting guys go. Again, going back to your question, I apologize. It's a long way to go from point A to point B. But when you ask why did they not draft and develop and then keep these guys, because once you get to a certain point with big salaries, you don't have that ability to be able to retain some of the guys that you didn't really think would develop, and they did. That's why you're not hanging on to Aaron Jones. That's why you're not hanging on to Corey Linsley, because you don't have that ability to hang on to those particular players because you're paying so much money. I mean, look at it this way. Aaron Rodgers and Zadarius Smith alone, those two guys alone, are making 30% of your team's total salary cap. David Bakhtiari with the restructure is only making 5.84 going into this upcoming season. And Devontae Adams is eventually going to restructure or get signed to a contract extension, but he's only making 8.89. But again, I'm talking strictly quarterbacks. Quarterbacks that have gotten the big money and gotten paid, 13.5% is usually about the cutoff, because that doesn't allow you to to fill all the holes with all the talent needed to win a championship, if that makes sense. There you go. That's like giving birth to a mathematician. I apologize. I should never do math on the air. I should never be doing that kind of stuff, but it was something that I did want to take a look at, because the question, I think, is very, very legit, so thank you for asking it. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. I'm going to breathe for a minute, and then we're going to come back. Give us a couple of minutes. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin has lost back-to-back games for the first time in more than a year. That's after a 77-62 loss to number 11 Iowa at the Kohl Center last night. Badgers fought, getting to within 3 about midway through the second half, but the Hawkeyes answered, outscoring them 28-16 the rest of the way. Wisconsin had little answer for Luka Garza, scored 30 points, but it was another rough night offensively, too. Iowa came in with the worst defense of the Big Ten, but held the Badgers to 30% shooting on the night, their worst effort of the year. Brad Davison says they remain confident despite their continued struggles from the field.
Can't really worry about if it's going in or not. You got to think about the quality of the shot. So that goes for me or the rest of our team. If we're having shooting struggles, whether it's from 3 or from 2 or the free throw line, you just got to continue to trust your work, trust your shot. We always say it. We believe in one another that if shots are open, we're going to knock them down. Everyone's got all sorts of answers of why that may be or why not. But when it comes down, you just got to make the shot. And you got to take good shots and knock them down.
Wisconsin will be at Northwestern on Sunday. Turn to the Bucks. They have lost 5 straight games for the first time in 4 years. Fell last night to Toronto, 110-96. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 23 points, 12 rebounds. They will host Oklahoma City tonight. Meanwhile, Antetokounmpo named an all-star starter for a 5th straight year.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Well, the Brewers held their first workout for pitchers and catchers yesterday down in Arizona. They will be joined this weekend by position players. First full team workout slated for early next week. First Cactus League game is February 28th. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Hey, the Carolina Panthers, just a little while ago, they released their Pro Bowl defensive tackle, Quan Short, on Wednesday, and then defensive end, Stephon Weatherly, safety Trey Boston, now punter Michael Pilardi, all on Friday today to improve their team's cap space, $28.473 million heading into free agency. That begins on March 17th. So there you go. The moves more than doubled Carolina's cap space, which was around 8.5 already. Other teams need to clear a lot of cap space to even be back in the black, and we know the Green Bay Packers are one of them. But anyway, so just some moves being made today. Here's a question for you. I can get back into the whole thing when you talk about the clock ticking on J.J. Watt. And you're right, Jeff. Jeff said that the clocks are ticking. Remember, I said 72 hours on the J.J. Watt watch. My opinion, I think you're going to see that. I would say at this point in time, if J.J. Watt does end up a Green Bay Packer, the deal is pretty much done. The deal is pretty much done. We're not hearing anything else right now. The deal to me would be pretty much done at this point. All they're sitting there saying is hang tight. We have some things we have to do. We don't want to make any announcements, obviously, but we're going to start cutting some players. We're going to restructure some deals, but hang tight. If he ends up as a Green Bay Packer, I think the deal's done. I think the deal is already done. Now, if rumors start coming out that his agent's talking to 3 to 5 different teams, okay, then maybe he's just enjoying free agency and being courted and the phone calls and the what ifs and the how muches and stuff. But if he ends up as a Green Bay Packer, I think the deal is already done. I do. Here's a question for you. And this one was kind of stemmed a little earlier, and I just had glossed over it in some of the responses. But we had talked about the NCAA. They're going to allow fans into every round of the NCAA tournament. 25% capacity with physical distancing. We talked about that, right? The entire tournament taking place in Indianapolis and the surrounding areas. The teams are going to stay at hotels and at the Indiana Convention Center, or stay in nearby hotels, and the convention center is going to be used as the practice facility. Okay, so the Final Four also held at Lucas Oil Stadium. earlier rounds are going to be at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, which is where the Pacers play, Hinkle Fieldhouse, where Butler plays, Indiana Farmers Coliseum, then Mackey Arena at Purdue University in West Lafayette, and then Assembly Hall, which is Indiana University in Bloomington. So with the spectators that are going to be there, the question was posed to those in that area was, are you comfortable? And overwhelmingly, people said yes. They're ready to go. They're ready to get back. Are you now? I know this is a sports show, so you, me, and just about everybody else that are kind of participating right now, whether listening or actually chiming in, we're sports fans. We want to see sports. Are you ready to go back? Are you ready to go back to an arena? Are you ready to go back to a stadium? Are you ready to get back? If you're a soccer fan, are you ready to head back into the stands at a pitch? Are you ready to get back? Or are you in serious trepidation when it comes to, I love sports to be back and I want fans in the stands, but I'm not going? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I think it's a fair question. Because there are some people out there, and I've noticed this because the finger waggers that are out there, that every time somebody goes somewhere, you say, hey, I went here for the weekend, or I did this today, or what, and they're like, oh, I can't believe it's a super spreader. And they want to tell everybody else what to do. John Bass, yes, ready right now. Let's get it. Anybody else? Are you ready to go back? And I'm talking if they opened it up today and said, hey, just keep your mask on, and we're going to go back, and even if we're going to put it at 50% capacity, are you ready to go? Would you go back today? Would you go back today? I've wondered about that because I still think it's kind of goofy that you can go get your hair cut, you can sit in a restaurant of tight quarters, you stay 6 feet apart, but you're good to go. That's fine. But you go to an arena and you got to sit almost in a section by yourself. It's like a really weird standard, I guess. But are you ready to go back? Ready to go back? Just a question. Wanted to put it out there. Wanted to ask you. Another one that was posed to me, and this is from Vincent, who says, why wasn't Giannis a team captain? Because when it comes to the All-Star game, I discussed this already. Look, thank you for the question. I appreciate it. But I don't give a damn about the All-Star game. I really don't. The NBA All-Star game has become who cares? They've tried to juice it up a little bit to make it competitive and fun. And look, it has. But it's just, I don't care. I just want to see the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals and then go from there. But Kevin Durant got all the votes in the Eastern Conference. Or I shouldn't say all, but he led all voters in the Eastern Conference. So that's the reason him and LeBron ended up getting the two top vote getters in the East and the West. That's the reason those two are captains. The question then becomes after that, Giannis did not get the most votes in the East. He's on a team that's lost 5 straight. For the first time, by the way, since January through February of 2017. That's how long this has been since a 5-game losing streak has been heaped upon the Bucks. They're not shooting well. They're not playing good defense. They're trying. They're trying to mix it up a little bit. But all the national pundits are going, well, see, as soon as Giannis signed, the Bucks were going to fall apart, and we knew this because the Bucks aren't for real. I don't buy that. This year, let's wait and see how it plays out. Because they could still kind of turn it around, so to speak. Still kind of turn it around. Still do some good things. Still get to an Eastern Conference Final. See what happens. I'm not ready to in on the. And this offseason will be an offseason of I love the city. We're getting back to normal. All of that kind of stuff. Starting to see people out and about. You're going to have Summerfest on some weekends coming up in September. Maybe you get a smattering of fans when it comes to Wisconsin State Fair, but things start to creep back to normal. And then that's an off season in which he goes away, and then you see what the Bucks do and see if they put their money where their mouth is. I mean, they still have a shot at doing some great things if Drew Holiday comes back and things start to really flow and click for this team. But no, I'm not going to sit here today and go, Giannis, you knew he was going to regret signing that Supermax. And again, he's on a competitive team. They've had really good records the last 2 years. As a matter of fact, when you talk about regular season, they've had the best record in the NBA the last 2 years. So you can't ask for much more than that. They have just faltered in the postseason. And that's disappointing, but it's not specifically Giannis's fault, and it's not everybody's fault around him. It's the fact that he does not have that second guy. And for everybody that wants him to be. And I think Chris Middleton's a good player, but he's not great. And you need great. Can we end the argument on Chris Middleton? You tell me, you can probably name for me 5 other players in the NBA right now. If there's 2 seconds on the clock, you're down by 2, who's taking that shot? And I guarantee you, not one of those 5 names is Chris Middleton. He's too inconsistent. It's damn sure not Giannis. Unless Giannis has a dunk on the inside to tie the game and put it in overtime. But Chris Middleton's not one of those guys. He's just not. 877-867-1670. 867-867-1670. Shoot us a note. Want to hear from you. And you can also follow us on all of the platforms, and I keep mentioning this. You can follow me on Twitter at Bill. Follow me there. Like me there at Bill_Michaels. Thank you. But we live stream the show. Facebook, go to the fan page, The Bill Michaels Show. The Bill Michaels Show on Facebook. And then just on YouTube and on Twitch, just look for Bill Michaels. It's that simple. So if I'm going to go with the final shot, Steph Curry, I'm going to go with LeBron, Luka Doncic, KD, Kawhi Leonard. I'm going to go with any one of those guys, right? And that's just off the top of my head. James Harden, going to go for him. He's a three-point dude. Anyone, Bradley Beal, any one of those. Any one of those. Before I even think about Chris Middleton. Just not even in the same breath. So he's getting paid to be the star, but he's not. He's not. Chris Middleton, as a matter of fact, looking at the rankings right now, he's 30th in the league in scoring. 30th. Let's see here. If you're going to put him from the outside, who is your three-point gunner? Bobby Portis, by the way, has a better outside shot than Chris Middleton does. He's got a better percentage. Start to go down through the list. He's way down the list. Way down the list. 24th in the league. Kevin Durant's ahead of him. Zach LaVine out of Chicago ahead of him. Patrick Beverly, Terry Rozier. I mean, I can go through. I mean, then again, it's the amount of shots that have been put up, but you get the note. You know what I mean? Curry has a better shooting percentage. Like I mentioned, Bobby Portis, Jeremy Lamb out of Indiana, although he's only played 16 games. Joe Harris from Brooklyn. There you go. So anyway, just throwing some names out there for you. But there's just more guys that I would say than Chris Middleton that I would actually consider a deadly shot and a guy that's clutch from outside. Dwayne says, let's say the Bucks don't turn this thing around. Would they make a coaching change and bring in Darvin Ham? Well, it's the same philosophy, though. You know what I mean? It's the same philosophy. So, no, they're not going to make a midseason coaching change. I can't, not unless Budenholzer has lost the team. If you believe he's lost the team, then yeah, you got to make a change. I still think Coach Bud's a good coach. I just think that they're waiting for Bobby Portis to come back, and they depleted the bench in the offseason. John says, daughter is playing basketball tournaments in Minnesota and Wisconsin. No issues. It's time to get back to fans in the stands. Yeah, we were talking about that. Are you ready to go back? Are you ready to kind of jump back into the stands, so to speak? 877-867-1670. I don't know how we got off on this topic, but regardless, we were talking a little bit about Giannis. And Giannis, I'm going to say this offseason, it's going to be about getting reacquainted with the city. It's going to be many different things that start to happen outside in different events, different venues. He's going to be frustrated, going to go away. Maybe there isn't a coaching change. So many different things will happen this offseason. It's not that I'm counting the Bucks out right now, because I'm not. I really think that you get Drew Holiday back, then things begin to change. He just has a better set of skills, and he's always performed better. If you look at statistically, he's performed better in the postseason than Bledsoe ever did. So I'm excited about that. I just think that the bench will have to play better. The shots will have to fall. They're not shooting the ball real well right now. Let's step away, take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Trio Williams lived down a dirt road. They made homemade wine.
Welcome back. Glad to have you.
I know
how we're looking on this first official Fish Fry Friday of the new Lenten season. I have never been to Aunt Mary's Hooterville Inn. I don't even know where the hell that's at. But James just emailed me and said, if you have not been to Aunt Mary's Hooterville Inn, you haven't had a good fish fry. I want a koozie. By the way, I collect koozies. I've got, I don't know, 50 to 100 in my bar. Everywhere I go. I try to get them from really cool, eclectic places, you know. And I've got everything. I've got all the Packers and the Bucks and the Brewers and all that stuff. I've got, my buddy sent me from Cincinnati some for the Reds. I have some Ohio State stuff. I have Badger stuff. I have Marquette stuff. I got all that. I got all the sports stuff. But I love places. I've got a bunch of Harley Davidson, but I love places. So, you know, and then what I do is I have a big bin down in the bar. So when people come over, especially if you're outside and you're walking around so you don't drop it on the concrete or something and break the glass everywhere, just because I have dogs. So I've always learned everywhere I go, I have a koozie. So it's easier to hang on to. So I would love to just get a koozie from Aunt Mary's Hooterville Inn. But they sent me a picture of it. And it looks fantastic. That is a fish fry right there. No doubt. This one, Angie says the Niblick in Ashland? I've never been. Never been there. Didn't even know about it. Well, this is a second vote for the Deep Lake Lodge. That's in Iron River. I know that. What else is there? Yes, Kegel's over in West Allis, Wisconsin. That's right just west of Wisconsin or west of Milwaukee. Daddy Maxwell's in Williams Bay. I've seen that. I've never been there. I go to Williams Bay, as a matter of fact, kind of often. Been down to Chuck's down in Fontana, and I hang out down there. That's down near Lake Geneva, and been past it a bunch, and enjoy it down there. I take my boat down there, so I got to stop in. I didn't know they had a great fish fry. It's a weird place because it looks like the top of an old barn, like a grain silo. It's just a big round dome. Daddy Maxwell's Arctic Circle Diner, I think. I don't think there's two N's. I think there's one. So anyway, there you go. Good stuff. Brett says, last second shot in the NBA, Damian Lillard is my choice. Brian still wants to know thoughts on J.J. Watt signing. If I had to put money on it, and I said this before, I think if the less you hear about rumors and innuendos where he's going, if he's not talking to the Browns or talking to the Steelers or talking to the Buccaneers or talking to the Chiefs or whatever, if you don't hear all of that or talking to the Rams, my assumption is that they've already talked and they probably have told him, we're making room. What do you want? What is your figure? They've probably already figured something out. So if he ends up signing with Green Bay, you're not going to hear a whole lot until it's about ready to happen. You know what I mean? Because Green Bay hasn't cut anybody yet. They restructured David Bakhtiari, but that's it. They still got to come to a contract extension with Devontae Adams. So there's more to do other than just saying, "Hey, we're going to sign you." You know what I mean? So, I think there's more to that. And what are my odds on him signing? I would say at this point, originally it was if I had to say J.J. Watt to the Packers or the field, I would have said the field. Because there was more, because it's just not the Packers' way usually. But now I'd probably say it's 50-50. But the less I hear over it, because I thought in 72 hours we were going to hear something. We were going to hear about a rumor coming out saying he is going to sign with such and such. But that is not matriculated. So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And give us a thoughts. What else do we have? Andrew says, if they do get JJ, I sure hope it leads to TJ coming here as well. See, there's a difference there. TJ is going to demand a lot more money than JJ is. TJ is still a younger player. He's still putting up big numbers. There you went. Couldn't find my dog there for a minute. I just heard ruckus. You heard it in the background. So TJ's going to demand a lot more money. They're not going to get TJ. If he goes anywhere, because the Packers, even in the next couple of years, are still pretty cash strapped. As long as you got that Aaron Rodgers contract, David Bakhtiari contract, Devontae Adams is going to sign for a good number. You can guarantee that. They'll be cash strapped for a while. So I'd love to see TJ come here as well, but I don't think that's going to happen unless, of course, it's a scenario in which you get JJ. You get like with JJ Watt, where you get him towards the end of his career. So I just don't think, unfortunately, that's going to happen. What else we got for you? Brian writes, and you can chime in, you can call if you choose to do so. But so many people chiming in on the stream platforms today and over on email as well. Oh, I got to get to this email. Where the hell did it go? I apologize. Let's see here. Nathan sent me this whole breakdown yesterday, and Nathan listens to us in Virginia. And so he said, what do you think of the way he kind of put the cap together, having Aaron Rodgers, his cap figure being 25.5 this upcoming season and not the over number. David Bakhtiari, his cap space. Basically, he created about $15.5 million worth of cap space, but he's got J.J. Watt on there at $700,000. He's released Preston Smith, released Christian Kirksey. Aaron Rodgers' cap hit goes from 37.5 to 25.5. Za'Darius goes from 21.5 to 8.5. Devontae Adams' cap hit goes from 16.7 this season down to 10.7. So he saves him some space. Jamal Williams signs as a free agent, and the cap hit is $5 million. Mercedes Lewis comes back, gives you a cap hit of about $5 million. You let go of Dean Lowry, you save 3.3. J.J. Watt signs as a free agent for a total of $7 million. So it's $7 million, not $700,000. I apologize. You let go of Dexter Williams. You let go of Oren Burks. Lane Taylor signs back as a free agent. You let go of Ricky Wagner. See, I don't think you're going to let go of Ricky Wagner, to be honest with you. Billy Turner's cap hit changes from $8 million to 5.03. And then you have all of those guys in under the cap with $15 million in cap space still to spend. That's not Corey Linsley or anything. You are bringing back Mercedes Lewis. I don't see Robert Tonyan on that list. I would say you're going to bring back Robert Tonyan, but I don't see him on that list. And I can't scroll, so if there's more to the list, I apologize. I'm not getting the whole list. But I mean, I like the fact that you've got all of these guys in and still with $15 million to spend. You take about 7 to 10 tops million on your. It's like 8.8 or something like that on your rookies is what you're going to spend. So I like it because it's getting J.J. Watt in under the cap. It's still keeping some of your prominent pieces, but you still need more. You still need more. Eight 877-867-1670. Could he sign like a deal like Julius Peppers? It's at the end of his career. So I'm not saying he's going to sign that deal, but hey, Bill, do you think J.J. Watt would sign for $5 million or less? I don't think so. You're not going to get him for his $17 million cap hit, but he's not going to sign for $4 or $5 million. There's more money there for that. You got to be able to pay the guy, respect the guy, and the guy still has to want to win. So you're already getting him at a discount at about $6 to $7, $8 million. I just don't think anything more than that's really going to happen. I don't think that's going to materialize. So Mark takes exception. He says, how can you include LeBron James as a last-second shot taker? He is not that clutch. I think LeBron James has hit more than a few shots in his day. I think he's now the one thing early on in his career, he did not take clutch shots. He was more astute to passing the basketball. He liked to involve everybody. But he's hit some big shots. And I put it this way: who would you trust more, LeBron or Chris Middleton, to take the last shot, hit a three, hit a big three? Who you trust more? If you say LeBron, that answers your question. That's why I would go in that direction. So, just thinking out loud. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The best fish fry, as Mike tells me, is the Honey Bear between Eagle River and St. Germain, up above Tomahawk. Love that area. St. Germain, the home of the Snowmobile Hall of Fame. I ride my bike up there. There's a great bike path. Although I will say this, it does give you a little, extra incentive, because when you get into the woods, there's a sign on the bike path that says, "Beware of bears." And I don't know how fast bears can run, but I've been told bears can run anywhere from, 10 to 30 miles an hour. I don't know. I know one thing, though. I can pedal at about 25. So I throw a little extra cardio in when I'm running through the woods up there in the North Woods if a bear comes out. Just saying. Because I can see a bear looking at me going by like, that is a huge knockwurst, man. Look at that thing. Roar. And next thing you know, I'm pedaling my ass off, and then they find nothing but a pair of gym shoes and a torn-up bike. And then later on, they'll find a bear in the woods somewhere throwing up going, "Oh, that was nasty. That was rotten." Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Glad to have you today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Certainly appreciate it. Honey J, why do you call yourself Honey J? Maybe your wife named you that. Honey J says, I think the best fish fry is Coach's. I do know Coach's. Now, which one, though? There's Coach's on Lake Danoon, and there's Coach's, which is the original, over there on South 13th Street in Milwaukee. Coach's, by the way, their fish fry is good, but they're known for the Big Boy Burger. Oh, my goodness. You get a hankering for a good old Big Boy Burger, you go there. That's where you go. Love me some Coach's over there. Xped says, I hear you go to Big Boy Barbecue in La Crosse. Do they have a fish fry? I don't know. If somebody's in La Crosse listening right now, let me know. I don't know. I don't know if they do. Could not tell you. I go for the barbecue. They've got a sweet and spicy barbecue sauce, which is really good, but they've got one that's spicy. And that'll when you eat that the next day, it comes with a sticker on the back that says you have to wear asbestos underwear because you could blow them out, set places on fire. Just saying. Terrell says, what about Tavon Austin and Funches? We can still use them, right? Yes, you can if you pay them. Funches, remember, he was injured the year prior, opted out of this past season, and he's going to count a couple of million on the salary cap. So I don't know necessarily that I want to keep Funches around, especially with the emergence of Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Equanimeous St. Brown had some games that were okay. Tavon Austin, you could use him more as special teams. So By the way, MLB today, prior to the upcoming start of full squad workouts, and the Players Association also jointly announced the first set of COVID-19 testing results today. Their health monitoring system, it's part of the mandatory intake screening process under the guidelines that they put together. And it's also for all Major League active roster players, non-roster invitees, and Tier 1 and Tier 2 club staff members, all required to complete the intake screening process, which includes a 5-day at-home quarantine, a contactless temperature check, a diagnostic PCR saliva test and antibody test, and a self-quarantine until the results of the PCR are reported. The intake screening process is one component of the health and safety protocols. The total number of new positive tests is 13, which is 0.3% of the 4,336 total samples collected. 9 of these 13 positive players and 4 are staff members. So 9 of them are out of the 13 total players, 4 are staff members, and 11 different clubs had 1 or more individuals test positive during the intake process. In addition, all individuals who cleared the intake screening process immediately become eligible and subject then to monitor testing. And among the 2,229 monitoring testing samples collected and analyzed to date, there have been no new positive tests. So that's good news. So out of all the people that have reported to camp, all the people that have been there, it's been 13 total tests, 0.3%. 0.3% have actually tested positive. And only 9 of those were players. So there you go. Not a bad way to go. Good stuff. Mike says, would you really keep Tavon Austin around? Look, I'm not paying Tavon Austin a ton of money. I'm just saying if you need, if you're going to spend money in other areas, you're going to need some depth. You can never have too much speed and too much depth. That's all. Keith said, have you talked about Patrick Peterson yet? I would take him over Richard Sherman. Yes, we mentioned that a little bit earlier. Richard Sherman is probably going to end up on the open market, I should say. Not going to end up back with San Francisco. Was injured last year. I think it was a calf muscle. Patrick Peterson's going to be out there, yes. So we discussed it a little bit. I would take Patrick Peterson over Richard Sherman. I'm not as quick to dismiss Richard Sherman's thought as many of you are, because I still think a knowledgeable secondary player in the NFL that could possibly put it this way: if he comes back and he's healthy, he saved his legs last year by only playing in 7 games. So 9 weeks plus the offseason of not getting beat up can bode well for a guy looking for one more year, Our buddy Ben Wergel, the Badger Blitz, says if the NCAA tournament started today, Wisconsin would be comfortably in the field. Problem is the Badgers have struggled to play like a team poised to make a deep postseason run for the last several weeks. He's got it at Rivals.com, an article about it if you want to read about it. We talked about that as well, that the shooting prowess of this team is just gone. And if you can't shoot and you're going to really struggle, then you need to create fast break opportunities, and you need to create with your defense. And even when they've had fast break opportunities and or layups, specifically last night, they missed them. So, again, you're probably right. They're not poised to make any kind of a run in the tournament right now. You'd like to see them, like I said, you'd like to see them start to put it together, get a good shooting performance under your belt. Get a game where you just take that pressure off. If you're a great guard, you're like, hey, guys, listen, come on. We have played, he gets everybody together. Bring it in. Come on, you bring it in. Hey, guys, look, we have played like crap. We know it. The world knows it. Fans know it. Okay? Listen. Relax. Easier said than done, but relax. You get a shot, chuck it. Let's put it up. Let's start firing it up. Let's start enjoying ourselves. If you miss, you miss. Let's crash the boards. Okay? Well, let's just start chucking it up. Let's start becoming that team that can get up and down the floor, Do a little more crashing of the boards, a little more boxing out, a little more interior development here, guys. For the big men down low, you got to do a little bit more than watch the ball go over your head. Let's do a few more things fundamentally sound, and we'll get this. We'll get a couple of games. Let's do this. And then you just take off that pressure, because it just looks like it's a team that's locked up right now. Locked up. I mean, this is where you wish COVID wasn't around, because then you could just say, guys, we're going to skip practice today. Let's go bowling. Let's go bowl a few frames. You know? Do something like that. Let's just get away, because we're too veteran. We're too good. We've got too much ability. We've been there, done that. We should be able to battle our way out of this. And as a coach, you got to figure out something different, because what you're doing right now ain't working. You know? And again, it's not even the X's and O's. It's wide open looks that just aren't falling. They're just not going anywhere. Elsie, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Elsie says, Lost Land Lake Lodge. Where the hell is that? Best fish fry. My aunt took me there when I was a kid. I don't even know where that Lost Land Lake Lodge is. Where's that at? What part of the state? Eric says, Rocky's Supper Club in Stoddard, just down the river from La Crosse. Oh, like that. Lone Star in Germantown. Been going there since I was a kid with Grandma. Good stuff, Jeff. Got a lot of good suggestions right now for fish fries. Today is the first Fish Fry Friday of the Lenten season. Get it on. Get it on. Good stuff. Final segment of the Bill Michaels Show before I then head off to the Northwoods, up to the UP, heading up to Four Seasons Island Resort, Menominee Marinette as well, going up in that direction. Going to go to the UP, to Pine Mountain Resort. I'm going to grab a fish fry along the way. And because I don't have to drive from resort to resort, I am going to imbibe this weekend. Although I will say one thing just crushes my soul. It's the time of year. You can't get outside. Well, unless you want to sit outside in your coat. But you can't. You're going to the Northwoods, right? You're going up north. And you just want one place to be able to go where you just get a good cigar. Just a good cigar. You get a good fish fry, a few Bud Lights, popping the cap. Maybe I do the bourbon cider. Oh, now you're talking. That's a great big Howie looking. Couple of shots of bourbon, some maple syrup, a couple of squirts of orange bitters, and then fill that thing with apple cider. Don't even drink it. Just pour it on your body and just feel the ants or whatever's around just crawl on you. Just, let yourself tingle. Oh, it's so good. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Yes, I can.
Welcome back to the program. See, this is some of the reason that you should be watching the stream, because I'm a mess. Sometimes you forget the camera's on, you know, and you start hearing the music and you start to jam a little bit. You're doing stuff like you would do in your car, and then you realize that people can see you in the windows, and you kind of like, you know, you act like you're having a seizure or something, I guess. I don't know. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. By the way, the Lost Land Lake Lodge, that's in Hayward. Didn't have a clue. Thanks to Terry. Dexter's Pub in Madison getting a lot of votes as well. And then there's Crawfish Junction. I've never been there. That's in Milford. So there you go. Quite a few places. Couple things before we get out of here today. Coming up next week, we will continue What Watch. We'll also talk about the weekend, about what you guys did, what you girls did, how you enjoyed it. We'll talk about whatever sports happen. Pitchers and catchers obviously have reported. Full squad workouts are going to be right around the corner. So we'll talk about the optimism in baseball. We're going to have our friends from Pro Football Focus on. We'll talk about the analytics side of things. When it comes to the Green Bay Packers, we'll have some capology as well. We'll talk to at some point Andrew Brandt is going to join us. We'll talk to him about the restructuring of deals and such, and what needs to be done. So, or at least his opinion of things and how things work. So, it'll give us a little more insight into the Green Bay Packers when it comes to how they're going to kind of figure this cap situation out. So, all of that coming up. So, we're looking forward to that next week as well. And then obviously we'll talk some Bucks, we'll talk some Badgers. Hopefully the Badgers get a win on Sunday. By the way, Eric says in regards to the Badgers, he said, please, fast break and Badger basketball can never be used in the same sentence. See, but I agree because it's so structured. But this is where you say, you don't throw your entire plan out. Okay, you don't do that. But right now, things aren't working and you need coaches, managers, whatever, head coaches, whatever, they all tell you the same thing. When a team gets in a funk, it's very hard to say, okay, snap out of it. You can't just do that. Okay? You need something to create an energy to get them back, kind of put the train back on the tracks. That's what you're looking to do with the Badgers. Now, sometimes it's just a lesser opponent that you start to feel your oats. They don't play nearly as tough defense or what have you. You begin to hit shots. Things can fall that way. Or you basically just kind of throw caution to the wind. You say, guys, I'm taking the pressure off. Don't worry about it. We've got to figure. So I'm going to just do this thing. My 5 that are on the floor. You know how we do things, but feel free, whether it's chucking it up, taking extra shots, crashing the boards, whatever it happens to be. Try to get putbacks. Try to get extra shots. Keep getting the open look. Keep chucking it up. Eventually, it's going to fall, right? Otherwise, we're going to shoot historic low numbers. And to be honest with you, who cares at this point? Who cares? You're not shooting historical low numbers, and you're not winning ball games. So now you go chuck it up. You know? Now go chuck it up. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. So if it works, if he ends up taking the advice, well, then fantastic. Maybe Greg Gard is driving around Madison right now listening to the program. Maybe he says, you know what? You're right. Maybe there's a lot of pressure on these guys. I need to figure something out. Not that he hasn't already thought of that, because I'm sure he has. I'm sure he's already said, hey, I got to do something to shake it up. Badgers need a win. Bucks need a win. Bucks need to win, but Bucks need to win in a different way. Bucks need to win playing their style of basketball and hitting shots again. And I hate to say this, but you got to get Drew Holiday back. It's an obvious statement, but the bottom line is you're now depending on one guy to put you back on the map. In other words, you can't just win with Giannis getting beat up on the inside. You saw what Toronto did to him. Same damn thing. Same damn thing. Pack the paint. Don't let him give the Euro step. Don't let him walk from midcourt, take 5 steps to dunk. Don't let him do that. You've got him timed out. A couple of shots blocked, a couple of frustration. He's looking at the ref, wants a foul. They're not giving it to him. They're frustrated. They're pissed off. Same thing. Same old when it came to the Toronto Raptors playing the Bucks. And then shots don't fall. Nobody crashes the board. Do you ever watch watch the shot go up, but watch everybody else. Giannis, if he's down low, he'll kind of hang. Okay? But most of the cats, they're turned around, they're gone. They're up the court already. Most of those guys are gone. They're already gone. So the crashing the board for an offensive board is especially when your team's not shooting well, kind of sucking swamp water, One thing you need to do is not sprint back down to play defense because you don't play a lot of defense anyway. So you might want to try crashing the boards. Do a little extra. Create a couple of second chance opportunities. There is nothing more demoralizing to a team than to play really good defense, to put a hand in your face, you chuck it up, you miss, and then to turn around and have to another 24 seconds where they have to defend you because you ended up out hustling them to the board. Eric says, as a college coach, I can't agree more. I don't know if he agrees with just saying go play or taking them bowling, one of the two. Maybe bowling would be a better sport at this point. Jeff says, safe travels, roads up north, looking good. Jeff, I'm counting on it. Although coming back is going to be a little bit dicey. I guess there's some snow coming on Sunday, and I'm coming back about midday on Sunday. But I am looking forward to it big time. So coming up on Monday, we are going to either be praising the Badgers for turning it around, putting themselves on the right track again, or we're going to be scratching our head going, what the hell? So we're going to talk about that. Got Bucks basketball to get to. We'll talk more about the upcoming NFL draft. We're on Watt Watch. So if anybody sees him out and about, tell him to call the show. Tell him to call the program. Love to have him on. Haven't talked to him in a while, but the last time he and I really had a chance to chat was probably Pro Bowl a couple of years back. So it's been a while. So got all that going on. So until then, until you and I talk again, look for me. You know what? I might post something over the weekend. Go to the Facebook fan page or over on YouTube or on Twitch or something like that. Maybe I'll do something like that. I kind of doubt it, but you can follow me on the Facebook fan page. That's probably the best way to go. I'm going to head up to the Four Seasons Island Resort in Pembine, Wisconsin, and then over to Pine Mountain Resort in Iron Mountain, Michigan. Heading over to Menominee Marinette. Say hi over there. That northern portion, the upper right-hand portion of the big glove, the big mitt that is Wisconsin. That's where I'm heading. You enjoy your weekend and fish fry. I know I'm going to get mine on tonight. And if you're lucky, you may see a little bit of an imbibed big unit Bill Michaels on Facebook this weekend. Till then, time for us to go. Have a good one. Swoop!